everyone, and welcome to the P1 Broadcasting Channel. You've got Murph, you've got Caleb Brashear, it's the Bass Brothers, and we are live from the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. You see the sign, this is Talladega on the backstretch. The party is in the infield, and Caleb, we've got 133 laps of nonstop action ready for tonight. Or 113.
It's Dega, Murph.
It is Dega. 113 laps, 300 miles on tap. Three stages, one break at 25, one break at 50, and then they will go the remaining 63 laps to the end. What do you anticipate seeing here tonight, Caleb?
Well, unlike the season opener at Daytona, I feel like Talladega, at least on sim, tends to be a little bit cleaner than Daytona. Obviously, it's a pack race. Nothing's guaranteed, Murph. Nothing's guaranteed in a pack race. But.
No, it's not. And here's the thing: you mentioned it though. Caleb. It's that this does tend to be a little bit more calm than Daytona. The track is not handling sensitive, and so that helps it out quite a bit. The other thing is that it is wider, and so you can run around here three wide very comfortably. Daytona, that is not the case, and that's because, quite frankly, this track is wider than Daytona. It is also a little bit longer, so the turns aren't the same radius. They're a little bit less. They're a little bit less sharp, and that's all the difference that you need, right?
Yeah, it is, and I think it even has a little bit more banking to also add to it. So it's really just kind of one. It feels like just one massive straightaway the entire time. Obviously, like Daytona, but even though Dega technically isn't that much bigger, it's only just over a just over a tenth of a mile longer. It feels so much bigger than Daytona. It feels so much wider, and yet it's not that much bigger if you look at the numbers of it.
It's not. 33 bankings in the corner, 16.5 in the tribal, 2 down in the back straightaway. Do want to point out that there is a trouble spot here that most drivers do not realize, and that is on the bottom going through the tri-oval. And the reason for that, Caleb, is there's almost like a little dip or a little hole down there, and the car will get very light as you go through the tri-oval. You're going to see that be a trouble spot as drivers attempt to navigate this in the draft. You think you can bump draft there? You cannot. The history of this place is, well, it's historic. We'll say that. The track originally opened in 1969. It was the site of the original boycott where NASCAR drivers attempted to unionize. They sat out the 1969 Talladega 500 over tire concerns. Richard Brickhouse won that first race in a car that was intended, I believe, for Bobby Allison. He won in a winged Dodge Charger Daytona. Bill France had broken the strike, and the regular drivers were back the next year. This track was originally not intended to be built here, Caleb. Originally, Talladega was intended to be built in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Same kind of concept around the Spartanburg Memorial Airport. It was only going to be 1.5 miles instead of 2.6 miles. That proposal failed when it was rejected by the city council, and the track eventually was built at the site of the abandoned Anniston Air Force Base, which the site was selected here for one very good reason, Caleb, and that is that it is roughly halfway between Birmingham and Alabama, and it's located right on an interstate, and so the area is accessible by the majority of the Deep South with a 4-hour drive, and so that's why it was built here. The track has one other unique quirk other than the hole that goes through the tri-oval. It's that the start-finish line is not located in its traditional spot in the middle of the front straightaway or the middle of the dogleg. It's located halfway down the chute between the tri-oval and turns 1 and 2, and the reason for that is that Big Bill France noticed at Daytona that those seats didn't sell very well, and so they put the start-finish line down there to try to sell more tickets or at least more tickets in that area of the racetrack. And this racetrack is noted not only for its attendance, but it's noted for its wild party atmosphere, especially in the infield. Although in later years, the police and the officials have started to crack down on some of the rowdiness, but it is still known for its pretty insane party scene. This is also the site 1987, I believe, 86, 87, Caleb, where a fan stole the pace car. That wasn't you. Well, you weren't even born yet.
No, that's probably double my age when that happened. But you talk about the history of this place, whether it be the parties in the infield, a fan stealing a pace car. This place is one of the most historic tracks in all of NASCAR. You look at the winners here, and there's absolutely legendary. Dale Earnhardt, is the king around here. 10 wins. Jeff Gordon, Brad Keselowski, his son Dale Jr. Like they have won here a bunch of times, and you look at the history of this place, and it just feels like this is the heart of NASCAR. And Daytona is technically where it all started, but this is where, to me, where NASCAR kind of gets its soul to me.
You couldn't have said it better. The track, the past winners here read like a who's who of NASCAR history. You mentioned Dale Sr., Dale Jr., Jeff Gordon, Brad Keselowski, noted drivers with multiple wins. This is also noted for being the site where many drivers get their first win, and some of them their only win. Phil Parsons, Bobby Hillin both come to mind, the aforementioned Richard Brickhouse. This track is also not only where a fan stole the pace car, but it's probably the site of one of the most unusual incidents in NASCAR history, and that's when L.W. Wright, who was a complete fraudster, entered in what amounted to a car that was acquired using checks that were not legitimate. He defrauded thousands of dollars worth of equipment, including from people like Sterling Marlin and NASCAR themselves. He somehow made it into the race, was subsequently parked for being too slow, vanished into the garage area, and was never heard from again. He was only found out in 2022 when he agreed to reveal himself for a podcast. So all kinds of crazy stuff have happened here in real life at Talladega. For more on what's happened in the AMA at Talladega, I'll turn you over to my much more capable broadcaster, Caleb Brashear.
Well, you got the past winners. Last time around, David Dunwoody was your 2025 fall winner. Corey Crandall was your spring winner. Now, we do have a different race length between the spring and the fall race. The fall race is just a tiny bit shorter at 250 miles, but Corey Crandall is the last 300-mile winner. You're looking at a lap time, typically a race lap around 50 seconds here. The race lap record in the AMA is set by Zach A. Williams with a 49.881 in the inaugural Talladega race back in 2024, the spring race. And the most, we talk about, it's a pack race. Talladega can get a bit ugly sometimes, especially with its real life characteristics showing. But this is one of the, surprisingly, you look at the history of the AMA here, this is one of the more calm races that we have here. The least amount of cautions that this race has had is only 3, and that was last year in the spring race. And the most that it's ever had is 7. And you look at, some of the races we've had in the recent weeks, and we've had 10, 12 cautions in those races, to come around and come to Talladega and say, hey, it's going to be kind of calm this time around. It's kind of weird to admittedly say, but the AMA always puts on a very, very good show here. Like I said, Corey Crandall, David Dunwoody are your last year's winners in here at Talladega, and we should be ready. We got about 15 seconds left in the practice session, and then we can go on to qualifying.
Not that practice speeds matter all that much, but Ryan O'Donohue is the quickest thus far. The forward-facing 88 of James Hodgson is second. Greg Evans, Brian Sharp, David Dunwoody round out the top 5. I do want to point out that this very much can be a team-driven event where this very much can be a team-driven event, Caleb, where you're going to need friends, and so we may see some drivers up front tonight that you're not used to seeing. Also, just because these restrictor plate tracks, it is a very unique skill set. And so it's possible that you're going to see names at the front because that you're not used to seeing because of that as well. We are awaiting the cars to hit pit lane to go on to the speedway. When they get there, we're going to show you the qualifying effort for one of the drivers that I would anticipate is going to do very well tonight. He's got a great team behind him. All of them are very good restrictor plate racers. He's not been having the kind of Outland Custom Arms Grand National season that he would like to have had, but that's going to be David Dunwoody. We're going to jump on board we're going to watch Brian Sharp, who is his teammate in the admin box number 125. We'll take a look at Brian Sharp as he gets ready to roll out. There's Greg Evans in the deuce. He's got a special paint scheme on that car. At the moment, what are you looking for in qualifying here, Caleb?
Well, you got two options, and we typically talk about whether the first lap is the fastest, the second lap is the fastest. A lot of the time, what you'll see at these Superspeedway races, you'll see a lot of the drivers come out of the pit lane, and they'll basically hold 100 miles an hour up until they get into turn 3 on their outlap, and then they floor around the high side and try to keep the wheel as smooth as possible and ride basically the wall on their first lap. You actually see this do that all the time in the IndyCar side, basically at any track that's over a mile in length. Well, at the super speedways, that's also the case for these stock cars. They'll basically throw away, most of the time, they'll throw away their first lap, try to get up to speed as much as possible. You'll see them ride that wall the entire way around that first lap, and then once they go to start their second lap, then they dive down to the yellow line that's there, and they'll basically just wrap around that yellow line and try to keep as smooth as possible. Try to not scrub any speed off with any sudden wheel movements and keep the wheel as steady as possible while holding that yellow line.
Yeah, Crash Neon, the first driver with a time on the board, 176.402. He's immediately eclipsed by Troy Carricker, and the times are starting to filter onto the board. Here comes Greg Evans, and you were talking about it. You want to keep that thing right on the bottom, right against that yellow line. It's flat out. You do not want to move the steering wheel, and you do not deviate from that yellow line. As a matter of fact, Greg Evans probably just a little bit high coming off of turn number 2. That might cost him a couple of thousandths of a second as he goes down the back. I like to stay right on the yellow with the lefts, Caleb, just because it is very much the quick way around. What's the line from Dave Marcus? You get off the yellow line, you're just adding feet to the lap. And, well, Greg Evans might have been adding feet to the lap there. He's going to come through the tri-oval, down through that hole. That's where it gets really light right there for some reason. Evans across the line, and he is going to go to the top of the board, 53.476. Let's have a look at Lee Campbell, the number 60, as he goes out. We haven't shown much of Lee this year, but here he is in that number 60. Good looking car. Pink numbers on that baby, Caleb.
Yes, it is indeed. He's coming across the start-finish line. It's probably going to be only his first lap that is going to count here. We only got a minute left in the qualifying session, but it appears like he's going to try to go around just on the high side here on his first lap, and this will probably be his only lap that counts with only 40 seconds left and him being on the back straightaway.
That's a good point, and there are different strategies involved here. Some drivers would prefer not to qualify and hang out in the back. I call that the chicken strategy, and that's exactly what I employ when I come here in one of these cars. Hang out in the back, let everybody else kind of wipe themselves out through the first couple of stages, and then make your charge At the end, you're going to see some drivers try to lead it from the front. Obviously, the DVD Motorsports crew, Greg Evans, Lewis Hayes, Sam Crow, that's what they're thinking. Lee Campbell, he's going to get one lap in. It's going to be 54-186. That's going to be good enough to put him at the back of the cars that did take time, but you're going to see that number 60 machine disappear because qualifying is now over, Caleb. And that's going to bring us to the starting grid. Do want to congratulate Greg Evans for winning the SimShop Pole Award. Go to visit him at www.simshop.com. Just keep driving simshop.com. On that pole position, it's going to be Greg Evans, 178.759 miles an hour. Say hey, Lewis Hayes. In the Grease Monkey Special, he's going to be on the outside of row number 1. Sam Crow, Franco Alvarez make up row 2. Then it's John Hutchins, James Hodgson in row number 3. Andrew Gates, Troy Carricker, they're going to make up row number 4. And qualifying 9th and 10th, how about Michael Kirk and Christian Light? In 11th, it's the open wheel ace. Crash Neon, Ryan O'Donohue will start 12th. Alan Steigerwalt, Vance Fisher are going to go from 14th, 13th, and 14th. Donald Green, good to see the number 6 up there in the 15th spot. Ted Craven is 16th. Raymond White will go 17th with Keith Graham. Keith Graham will be with him on row 9. And then row 10, Lee Campbell and Trevor Ryan. We are now getting into the cars that did not qualify, beginning with the number 28 of David Dunwoody. Justin Osterman is 22nd. 23rd, Mike Rigney. Brian Sharp. Jeremy Dunwoody is 25th. Then Eric Quarter, Matt Metler, Christopher Logan, and Randy Dunlap rounding out your field. That's a bunch of goose eggs toward the back, Caleb. Those guys are they're going to go for the chicken strategy, my friend.
Yes, they are indeed. And usually I have a theory of I'd rather be in front of a wreck than behind a wreck, because then you have a lot of, you got to do the old car, the first Cars movie, the very first scene where you just got to dodge those wrecks, or as we like to call in iRacing, arc a break a little bit and try to make it through. But I personally would like to be in front of the wreck and be up towards the front of the field, then try to avoid a wreck that does happen. However, you know, we talk about Talladega. It's a super speedway race. It's a pack race. You know, the big one will eventually happen. It's just a matter of when and where and how. You know, how many drivers are going to be involved with that.
You know, that's kind of the situationship here with Talladega. It's not if, it's going to be when. We've got 2 opportunities early to have one, and I can guarantee you that there will be cars absolutely all over the place when they come to get the checkered flag. It is going to be a knife fight when they get down to those last 2.66 miles. Do want to thank everybody for tuning it in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. Do want to also thank Outland Custom Arms for their sponsorship of the series. At Outland Custom Arms, their mission is to provide hunters and outdoor sportsmen with precision-crafted firearms rooted in Oregon's rugged legacy. Every build is hand-tuned for performance, reliability, and the uncompromising pursuit of the perfect shot. And I got to wonder who's going to have that perfect shot tonight, Caleb, and who's going to be the first one to bring out that admin box caution flag. The pace car is going through turns 3 and 4. This is right about, if you go watch that video of the of Darren Crowder, the guy that stole the pace car, this is about where they put up a roadblock. About right here, they put up a roadblock across the track to stop him, and he was duly stopped and captured. But the field is getting ready to pop on off. You see they are under the control of Greg Evans and say, hey, Lewis Hayes. Barney's got the green flag in hand, and there he is. It is out. Green flag is in the air, and we are underway at Talladega.
Yeah, the bottom line was kind of way out ahead in comparison to the top line. That is the, I believe that was Franco Alvarez. No, that was not Franco Alvarez. That was Say Hey Lewis Hayes on that outside line, kind of dropping back on that outside line. Meanwhile, Greg Evans and Sam Crow are shooting out way out in front in comparison to everyone else. But that's just for now. The entire pack will eventually catch back up in a moment's time.
Yeah, and they've it's almost like they got too big of a lead, because here comes Say Hey Lewis Hayes. He's got help from Franco Alvarez there on the top, and those cars are bidding to get back to the front. The top line has got the momentum, and here comes Say Hey Lewis Hayes. He's going to make a shot for the lead here, Caleb.
Yeah, Say Hey Lewis Hayes goes to the bottom, cuts off Greg Evans. He's going to lead lap number 1 here and get some extra bonus points there. Franco Alvarez still trying to make that outside line work. He has James Hodgson right behind him. John Hutchins is behind, or no, sorry, that's Troy Carricker is behind them on the outside. There's only 4 cars up front, but it is fairly spread out early on in the run-in here.
It is indeed. Do want to thank Whiplash SimCams for these awesome views of the Talladega Superspeedway. This is from the P1 airship, and this is a view that I really like here, Caleb, because you get a chance to see where the momentum is at, which line has the forward movement, which line is a little bit less disorganized. Right now, Greg Evans and Say Hey Lewis Hayes are out here leading this thing, and there's not really a whole lot of momentum behind them. Franco Alvarez is coming, and maybe the top is a little bit more organized, but not so much that Greg Evans can't just come up and block it right off. Franco Alvarez is going to make it to third, but there's not a whole lot of help behind him, Caleb.
No, there is not, and the pace is, like, we're already very, very spread out. We already have 2 separate packs here, only on lap number 3, and that we got the first pack, which goes to all the way down the 14th of Raymond White. Then Ryan O'Donohue actually leads that second pack, and they're about a second behind Raymond White at the moment, over a second. So they are dropping back and trying to catch back up to the front of the pack. They got Ryan O'Donoghue at the point there, so maybe he can try to work together that second path to try to get back up towards the front.
Yes, indeed, and you can kind of see the break. Here's Vance Fisher in the Tabasco Fiasco. We're going to look off of the back of his car, and there you see about half the field kind of hanging out. Raymond White's in no man's land. Here's Raymond. You kind of see him there, and then you've got Ryan O'Donoghue leading that second pack. Those cars, those are the guys that are playing chicken. They're just trying to stay out of trouble. Raymond White hasn't really decided what he wants to do. By default, though, he's going back to that second group because he has not been able to maintain the lead draft back up front. Sam Crow has gone to the lead with help from James Hodgson. Say Hey Lewis Hayes and Greg Evans have been relegated to third and fourth.
Yeah, there's a bit of shuffling going on. And it just seems like that bottom line is really, really dominant early on. That outside line hasn't really kind of formed up. It did early on with Franco Alvarez on that outside, but now I think they're all just trying to get single file at the moment and just try to gain as much time as they can here early on in stage number 1.
Absolutely, and these are the guys that are fighting for the lead. Troy Carricker and the 87 Alan Steigerwalt. They're trying to make something happen on that outside line, but as often happens at Talladega, or Daytona for that matter, if you get a bunch of cars lined up in one solid line, Caleb, it is just very difficult to get anything going. Nobody wants to leave the line and risk losing a position.
No, they do not. And it's so easy to get shuffled. And sometimes you get baited to go to the outside line. There'll be a car that kind of sneaks out, and then you bait somebody that's right in front of you. Then you take your position on the bottom. Right there, we saw John Hutchins swat to the high side. with Troy Carricker behind him, and that actually allowed, I believe that was Alan Stegerwald, go back to the bottom. So there's a lot of shuffling going on, and the outside line basically doesn't have any momentum, not enough cars to try to get back up towards the likes of James Hodgson and Sam Crow.
It doesn't. Now I'm going to jump on board with Troy. We're going to jump on board Troy Carricker here. And the reason we're going to do this is it looks so sedate, Caleb. It almost looks easy when you watch this on TV. You're like, how in the world are these guys running over each other, hitting each other? How are they wrecking? It's just flat out. All they got to do is hold the wheel straight. Watch how much these cars move around in this draft. They are dancing all over the place. And this is fairly tame and benign compared to Daytona.
Yeah, it is. And Daytona, we had more drivers there, and a lot of the time you get those season jitters. It's the first race back of the season. You're back at Daytona, the biggest race of the season, most would argue. So sometimes the nerves just get the best of you at Daytona. With Talladega being in the middle of the season, a lot of drivers are already thinking about championship here. You see that with us, Greg Evans. He's kind of dropped back a little bit, but you see that especially with Ryan O'Donohue, who's currently way back in the order. He's currently thinking, try to play it safe. Let's get to the end of the race and just try to get a good points haul today, and just try to get to the end of the race first before making any massive decisions.
Yeah, and that's the thing. To finish first, you must first finish, and that's definitely the thought from Ryan O'Donohue. He is currently the leader of that second pack, which has split into two bigger packs. Here's Ryan O'Donohue. He's leading Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman, Raymond White, Trevor Ryan, Brian Sharp, David Dunwoody, and Eric Corder. There they are in this second group, and then you get another 2 seconds back to this crew led by Keith Graham. He's got Mike Rigney, Christopher Logan, Randy Dunlap, Matt Metler, Lee Campbell, Donald Green, Jeremy Dunwoody, Ted Craven. These cars are all back here trying to stay way the heck out of the way. Meanwhile, at the front, we're starting to see more cars start to get out of line and start to battle just a little bit. We're not yet halfway into the first stage, Caleb. The break is at 25 laps. We're getting on to lap 10. But you almost have to start planning these moves several laps in advance. And so Franco Alvarez has been able to draw some help from Hutchins Carricker and the 73 of Vance Fisher. And they've got that top line moving. Let's check out the blimp and see what that looks like. Just not a lot of momentum up there as yet, is there, Caleb?
No, there is not. And I could tell Franco wants to make that outside line work. He was lining up on the outside a good portion early on in the opening laps here. He goes back to the outside, but it just doesn't have the momentum in this stage of the race to really be a massive factor here. And you kind of see the top line already kind of, fading away there. And what these guys really need to do up until about 5 to go in the stage is just try to, get single file and pull away from the packs behind and not try to fight too much to where you're slowing each other down and introduce that second and third pack back into the lead of the race.
That's very true. You see Vance Fisher, he's going to get some help up to the back of that 41, but it's going to be too little too late. Those two cars, before it's all said and done, if they don't find a way down, they are going to be at the back of this lead line here at Talladega. I do want to thank everybody for tuning it in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you too can get in on all the iRacing fun. You are watching the Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series live on the P1 Broadcasting Network. And Caleb, so far so good. They've been pretty well behaved for the first 11 laps, knock on wood.
Thankfully, my desk is made of wood here. I'll give it a quick knock there.
Well, at least you didn't knock on your head.
You sometimes I get those confused. Sometimes knock on wood, knock on the head.
Knock on the head with a block of wood, whichever works, right? James Hodgson has now moved into the second spot. He's split up, say, hey, Lewis Hayes and Sam Crow. So the forward-facing 88 will go to second. You're going to see a lot of that when the cars get like this. You can make one move. You can pull out, make one move as you see the defined packs. You can pull out, make one move, really, if you get a big enough run, but you're not going to pass a whole line of cars without some help, and that's what Franco Alvarez is trying to do back there. He's got Vance Fisher, and now it looks like the car of Andrew Gates. So they've got 3 on that top line, but still just not enough energy, Caleb.
No, there is not. Franco trying to make that outside line work. This is his 3rd start in this series, and so far has done very, very well in his first 2 races. Both in those races, he had a shot at winning here. He's trying to get up towards the lead of this one now, and he's calling on the top set of the podium here, and we'll see if he's able to finally do it after running so well at both Bristol and Kansas last week.
Yes, indeed. Now the front of the field has started to get a little bit strung out. Greg Evans moved up to throw the block at Franco Alvarez. Slow that outside line down, but it created a little bit of disorganization in that bottom line. Will that allow Alvarez to move up? He is to the door of Christian Light, and that's about as far as he's been able to rally thus far, Caleb, but he's starting to inch forward a little bit with help from Fisher and Andrew Gates.
Yeah, he is, and you can see him try to work that side draft, try to get it really close to the car on the bottom to try to slow them down with the air off of your car. And you see him get really, really close to Christian Light there. He's trying to slow him down using that side draft. Now he's on the side of Greg Evans in that number 2 machine, and that outside line is gaining at the moment. Franco Alvarez is using the side draft pretty well, I'd say, here, Murph, on lap 14. We'll see if he's able to continue forward here.
We will see indeed. When you talk about a side draft, what Caleb means is there is a way to position your car against the car next to you where it essentially packs the air on top of the spoiler and inside the right rear wheel well, and it's like you pulled a parachute on that car. It doesn't actually make the passing car go faster. What it does is it slows down the opposing machine. It almost acts like an aero brake, and so you can use that to pull yourself forward in a sense, not by going faster, but by slowing down the car you're trying to pass. You want to do that on the straightaway, and then when you get in the corner, you want to pop away from them so that you get the full aerodynamic effect on your chassis. It makes the car handle. Right now, Franco Alvarez is using that effect to a great effect. He's pulled up even now with, say, hey, Lewis Hayes, and you'll see it. He'll get real close, especially down the back straightaway, and then he'll pop away from him going through the corners so that he can get some grip.
Yeah, he is, and he's really used that to his advantage, and now he's got a couple more cars to back him up on that high side. Ooh, James Hodgson almost looked like he was going to try to get there. We're getting a little bit dicey here, Murph.
Yeah, we were on board with Franco Alvarez as he saws on the wheel. A little bit of contact between he and, say, hey, Lewis Hayes, and that's the problem with the side draft. You get a little bit too close contact, and that's really one of the 2 ways that the big one here at Talladega is going to get set off. It's either going to be somebody got too close trying to side draft, or there was a bump when there shouldn't have been a bump, and now Greg Evans is kind of hung out to dry. Franco Alvarez slots in behind Christian Light, and Greg Evans is left to be the Pied Piper on that high line.
Yeah, a lot of shuffling there. Franco Alvarez now on the bottom, Greg Evans on the top. Those guys were trying to side draft each other for a large portion there. Now they swap positions. We'll see how that works out. Say, hey, Lewis Hayes goes to the top side to try to help his teammate out there. We'll see if that high line now with the likes of, say, hey, Lewis Hayes and Greg Evans are able to pull up towards the front of the pack and try to get some laps led over Sam Crow.
Yes, indeed. Do want to point out that slow car that you saw on the apron. That was Ted Craven. The teddy bear did start from pit lane, and so he didn't have the benefit of the draft to start the show. He's already gone a lap down. The good news for Teddy Craven is that there's going to be a caution here in 8 more laps, if not sooner. And when that happens, assuming he's not involved, he will be the lucky dog and get that lap right back. Say hey, Lewis Hayes. Big loose off the nose of teammate Greg Evans. Let's jump on board with Greg Evans just to kind of show you what he sees. Now watch. He's going to hit Say hey, Lewis Hayes. He's going to hit him again, and he's going to back off and get off of that rear bumper going through the corner so they can make the corner. You do not want to be bump drafting, ladies and gentlemen, through these corners here at Talladega, and you really don't want to be bump drafting through this tri-oval.
No, you do not. And, you know, sometimes you can get away with it in a tri-oval. It's a bit risky if you do. And sometimes, if it's really late in the running, you'll try to bump draft in the corners. And if you got a really good driver, and it's not really particularly easy in these cars. It's a lot easier in the next gen cars, the Cup cars at the moment, but in these O'Reilly / Grand National cars, it is very not very easy to do to bump draft in the corners. It is possible, but it is not ideal because it is very easy to get it wrong. One thing I do want to point out is that second pack of Ryan O'Donohue, Justin Osborne, David Dunwoody have caught the front of the pack. So these guys were fighting so much that now we have introduced the likes of Ryan O'Donohue, David Dunwoody, Justin Osborne, Mr. Excitement, Brian Sharp, Trevor Ryan, and now we have a lot bigger front pack here to end the stage here with just over 5 to go.
Yeah, jump on board with David Dunwoody. This is what he sees as he's arrived on the scene at the back of this lead draft, and he is up at the very top trying to get something going in that third lane. Dunwoody is very much noted as a high-quality restrictor plate track driver, and there you see it, and that is the lead draft. Right now, 18 cars strong. As we get down to the final 5 laps of the stage, Sam Crow is your leader. James Hodgson in the Ford-facing 88 is second. The 96 of Christian Light is third. Franco Alvarez and Michael Kirk round out your top 5. And none of these drivers are drivers that have won in the series thus far. Matter of fact, there's only really a couple of podiums thus far in the top 5. 87 is sideways. Caution is out. Alan Steigerwalt sideways. That is going to bring out the caution. It'll allow Teddy Craven to get his lap back. And I believe, Caleb, that is probably going to be the stage. So we'll show you the action here. It appears as though Steigerwalt got a bit of a bump from Vance Fisher, perhaps going down toward turn number 1. Here they are. You can see John Hutchins on the outside. They're 3 wide. And, well, there it is. It's not a lot, but it doesn't take a lot, does it, Caleb, at that speed?
No, it does not. And one thing we have to point out that is especially prevalent on Talladega is that most people actually don't notice is that through the tri-oval, it actually is 4 lanes when you go through that. But when you get onto that short chute, going on to the start-finish line, it actually reduces down to 3 lanes if you look at the lines on the track. And that's just a case scenario of where, you know, that merge kind of happens. You know, they kind of, by definition alone, both held their line. It's just they were going to go to the same place if they continued on that line. So it was just one of those situations of the 4-lane went to 3-lane, and they came together because of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Caleb. And there is a bit of a narrowing effect. You can see what my colleague Caleb Brashear is talking about right there. 3 lanes down the backstretch. Watch it when they get to the tri-oval. You'll see an extra lane appear, and that's because the track, as he said, is wider there. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can get in on all of the iRacing fun. We are under the admin box caution flag here at Talladega. This will be the end of stage 1 for the Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. Admin box is a button box that is custom built for race control If you're a race controller, you do hosted sessions. If you are a league owner, go get yourself an admin box. That's www.adminbox.com. Do also want to thank Outland Custom Arms for their support of the series. At Outland Custom Arms, our mission is to provide hunters and outdoor sportsmen with precision-crafted firearms rooted in Oregon's rugged legacy. Every build is hand-tuned for performance, reliability, and the uncompromising pursuit of the perfect shot. That's Outland Custom Arms. Do also want to thank the sponsor of the Truck Series, Archway Industrial Coatings. They are a St. Louis-based flooring company that have been getting the job done for years. They do epoxy and urethane flooring solutions that withstand the test of time, all while meeting their customers' installation schedules and budgets. They're committed to doing the highest quality work at the lowest possible cost every time. Whether you're looking for industrial, commercial, restaurant, retail, flooring, or a concrete repair at home, you found the perfect partner to get the job done now. Get ready to floor it with Archway. And that's www.archwaycoatings.com. Caleb, we're going to see are we going to see pit road become a busy place, or do you think we'll have some people stay out here?
Well, I think you are able to make it 50 laps here around Talladega, especially with these caution laps. The more we get them, it's going to be right on the edge if they're able to do it or not. But I think you just got to play it safe here. Tires aren't really a factor here. They're never a factor around the super speedways, except for maybe Atlanta. They do have 4 sets total, so 3 over the wall. So if they do want to take them, they can, but it's not going to be completely the end of the world if you don't. Tire wear here is pretty much minimal. So you're pretty much just going to stop for fuel. If they do decide to stay out, they could probably make it to the end of stage number 2, but it's going to be a stretch to try to get there.
You know, it may be. You may want to come in and take. You may see guys come in and take fuel only. Again, tires are not a factor here. They've got 3 sets in the pits, but look, there's no real reason to change tires unless it's just to change them. There is no speed impact. I'll tell you the one thing that tires are going to do here, though, Caleb, is if you change them, it's going to make your car handle a little bit better. It's going to make it, well, it's not going to make it handle better. It's going to make it feel better. But there are going to be some drivers that do gas only here. There are going to be some drivers that only take enough fuel to get them to the end of the second stage. And so if it's borderline to make it, you might see some guys come in and take just 2 or 3 gallons, just kind of a splash and go type of a deal so that they can get some track position here. You're going to see people take gas only. You're going to see some drivers say, look, I want 4 tires. Give me 4, but it's just going to depend. That's almost to taste here, Caleb. It really doesn't matter whether you take tires or not.
No, it does not. The only situation I will add in which you do want to take tires is if we do get a green flag stop, which we might see in stage number 3, you will have more grip on pit exit here, and you're able to just carry a little bit more speed and just able to, kind of have it be a little less sketch, as some people would say. You're just able to just take pit exit a little bit smoother, a little bit cleaner, a little bit faster if you do take tires. Other than that, there's no real advantage to taking tires other than the car just kind of feeling better, not particularly quicker, but just feel better, and just that pit exit strategy, as I mentioned before.
Absolutely, and that's one thing you have to consider. Depending on the amount of fuel that you take, tires may be done before the fuel, or you may be, tires may be done before fuel, so you're waiting on fuel. You may be waiting on tires. It just depends on how much fuel you need, Caleb. But we're about to find out. The 25th lap is upcoming. And so we'll have one more lap in the stage. Do want to thank everybody for your patience. The reason that we do this in the AMA, if it's within a set number of laps, and that number of laps is put forth by the league officials before the race begins, usually it's 4 or 5, but if you get within that mark of the stage, they will not restart the stage. And the reason is that, Caleb, cautions breed what?
Cautions breed cautions.
So if we were to have the stage break, If we were to go back to green, we would get one green flag lap, and then we would come back out, and the chances of a massive pileup are pretty huge. And so we're going to circulate for another lap here. Sam Crow will be the winner of Track Racer Stage Break number 1. If you go to trackracer.com, that's TRAK racer.com, and you use the promo code that I'm going to put in the chat, 5% of your order will go into the AMA prize pool. That's www.trackracer.com, and here is the promo code. So again, 5% of the order goes to the AMA end of year prize pool. If you use that web address, or if you use that promo code, you just put the old backslash, the old / in there, promo code right after it, and you're in business. And Caleb, pit lane, I think, is going to be somewhat busy. I think there's going to be somebody in that back group that stays out. I think there's going to be a half a dozen cars maybe take gas only. If not gas only, 2 tires. We're going to see a whole host of different things play out when we get onto pit lane in about 2 minutes' time.
Yes, we will indeed. We'll see a big gambling, like you said, in the back of the field. But to me, you know, if the entire field's coming down, you may as well just take fuel. It's not going to hurt. May actually even help with the balance. With these Grand National cars having more weight in the rear, maybe able to just turn in slightly better on warm tires if you decide not to take them. So we'll see what happens, I reckon. But the entire, if not most of the field will come down for fuel at the end of the stage. I don't think many people will decide to stay out.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be the question, is who does what here. Sam Crow comes across the line, and he is the winner of Track Racer Stage number 1, that being the 25th lap. And the next time around, we'll get to see pit stops. And so Justin Osterman says somebody needs to bring him an ice cream bar. He says he's hot, so do want to thank him for chiming in the chat. In terms of weather here, you couldn't order a better day in virtual Alabama than this. 76 degrees in the air, 91 on the track. Wind is out of the southwest. If memory serves, that is blowing down the backstretch, Caleb? It's a tailwind down the back?
It's blowing towards turn 2.
So blowing toward turn 2. Is the wind. I'm actually going to go look that up. I can't believe that I did not know that, Caleb. So north, turn number 3 faces north. So if it's out of the south, if the wind is out of the south, it would be blowing toward the north. So it is a tailwind down the back and a headwind down the front. So wind on your nose going into turn 1, wind on the spoiler going into turn number 3, and that could be a handling issue. 8 miles an hour is not insignificant. That could conceivably, Caleb, cause an issue late in a run when the pushing and shoving begins to get going down that backstretch toward the end of the race. Puff of wind might be just the thing that sets everything off. And here they get ready to come, and who is going to come? Here it is. There's the pace car. Answer is everyone. Ryan O'Donoghue
has stayed out.
O'Donoghue stays out. Everyone else is going to hit the pit lane. Nobody else stays out except for Ryan O'Donoghue. And there you see Sam Crow. We're going to watch the race off of pit road, see who does what. Very easy entrances into the pit boxes for most drivers. Try not to slide the tires. There's Christian Light. He's out. Sam Crow is out. judging from these times, I'm going to say everybody at the front end of this deal took 2. Troy Carricker got 4 tires. Vance Fisher got 2. Trevor Ryan got 2. John Hutchins might have got 4, and then everybody behind him got 4 tires. So Sam,
I want to briefly point out, Alan Stierwald has left the session. It doesn't appear like, I wouldn't think that crash got him a meatball. His car looked fairly clean, but he has disconnected from the session.
it is possible, and it could be a situation where he was just upset with himself, you know what I mean, or upset at the situation, or maybe he had a hot date, Caleb. We don't know.
Hot day, or maybe there's with the recent weather we've been getting, maybe he's maybe the weather outside is not being too kind. I know our friends over in I-5G over in Iowa are currently going through some tornadoes right.
I was going to say, is the Hyperstar in the hideaway trying to dodge the twisties?
He actually messaged us. He actually messaged us and says, his building is in a. They're currently all in the tornado shelter part of their apartment complex right now because they have a tornado that's quite close to them. But they're all fine at the moment. But Iowa is getting hit pretty hard at the moment. So maybe Stierwald's dealing with that, or just in another part of the country where. The weather's not too kind at the moment.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You don't know. I mean, we've had some rather harsh storms here in Indiana the last couple of weeks. I know Gary Gazzo dealt with that trying to broadcast on Tuesday night. It's always an adventure in the Midwest in the springtime, and so you got to be careful. You got to be careful of the severe weather. Kendall Paul, the series director, he knows that better than anybody else. He's actually out with a group. He's actually out deployed with a group of storm chasers right now. So he might be chasing that same tornado that has our favorite YouTuber locked away in the basement. Who knows?
Who knows? But yeah, Kendall wasn't able to make it tonight. Storm chasing. The recent Midwest storms that are going on right now, but he was sitting quite nicely in the championship. He was sitting, I believe, he was sitting third in the championship. He was actually battling our leader, what was our leader, Sam Crow, handed the lead over to Ryan O'Donohue. They were actually at 383 points with Kendall Paul. Sam Crow was at 381. So Kendall will drop a little bit down the standings, but we know he was able to climb back up even with missing this race.
Do want to point out to Justin Osterman, if he wants ice cream, he's going to have to wait. His pit crew is currently consuming ice cream. The old NASCAR joke. So 2 teammates at the front, O'Donohue and Crow. Row 2, Christian Light, Franco Alvarez, James Hodgson, the Ford-facing 88 and the Deuce of Greg Evans. Row 3, Crash Neon, Say Lewis Hayes. Row 4, Michael Kirk, Andrew Gates. Row 5, and at long last, with 28 complete, coming to get lap 29, we are going to go back to green flag action. There are the cars coming through the tri-oval under the command of Ryan O'Donohue. They're in the restart zone. The green flag is out, and racing here at Talladega will resume.
O'Donohue gets a good start over his teammate Sam Crow. Franco Alvarez slots into the second place spot right behind O'Donohue. Sam Crow slots in behind them. You got Christian Light and Ray Evans on that high side. Those two are trying to draft back up towards the front. They got James Hodgson on the inside. He's going to form up with our lead group of O'Donohue, Alvarez, and Crow. And now the group is a lot tighter this time around than they were at the beginning of stage number 1.
Yeah, there's no dual packs in this one right now. Everybody has elected to stay up in that lead draft. That is 28 cars strong with a retirement of Alan Steigerwald, and they are all within, call it 3 seconds of one another. Now there's going to be a group that starts to break off of the back. It's going to be Ted Craven, Christopher Logan, Randy Dunlap, and Jeremy Dunwoody. They're starting to kind of get toward the back, but everybody else is in the fight, Caleb.
Yes, they are indeed, and this is kind of the first time we've seen the outside line make a presence all race long. Christian Light getting a massive shove through the through turns 3 and 4 by Greg Evans. We talked about it is possible to bump through the corner, but you got to be very, very careful when you do. Greg Evans, who currently leads the championship, has numerous wins, 4 wins on the season, knows how to bump in the corners very, very well, and you see that outside line now pulling away from the inside line of Ryan O'Donoghue, Franco Alvarez, and Sam Crow.
Now Christian Light's going to cut down in front of Ryan O'Donoghue, and that gets O'Donoghue checked up. He just about backed it in to Franco Alvarez, and now O'Donoghue's going to get to the inside of Christian Light. No, he slams the door, and now we've got mass chaos down the back, Caleb.
All right, man.
Caution.
Caution is out.
Big mess. Say Hey Lewis Hayes is involved. Hard contact for Hayes. And there goes the 43, the Grease Monkey machine. Man, what does Say Hey Lewis Hayes need to do to get a break? This is not of his making, but he came off the worst. You see they're 4 wide there. Franco Alvarez comes up a little bit, gets into David Dunwoody, and the melee is on, and there's the crash toward the bottom. Ryan O'Donoghue, Sam Crow. That wipes out 3 DVD cars right in a wad there on the inside. Andrew Gates is involved. He's got the meatball, as does Ryan O'Donoghue. There's Gates. We're going to show it from his perspective. You see David Dunwoody slam into the 45 of Trevor Ryan. Ryan careens off, but watch this impact from Gates. Golly. You remember when there were you may not remember, Caleb, maybe a bit before your time, but do you recall when there was not an inside wall there and they would put a car every so often into the embankment? You ever seen those replays? Davey Allison, if memory serves, landed back there once. It was a very treacherous thing. We're going to go back and get on board with David Dunwoody and see what he sees through this mess, because it is indeed a mess. And let's get on top. And there you see 4 wide, and he's trying to avoid, and well, he gets kind of knocked into the right rear of Say Hey Lewis Hayes, around he goes. There's the hit for Dunwoody. It straightens him up, though. He does not make any contact with the wall. He's going to get out of this running along in the 4th spot, although I would anticipate he's probably going to need to come in for some repair. The next car you want to see is the view from the ISRA impresario, Mike Rigney, because he's going to get through this completely untouched, standing on his brakes, and that's what you see when there's a wreck at Talladega, which is not much, Caleb. But there's Mike. We've got, by the way, about 11 cars on the pit lane from Say Hey Lewis Hayes in 17th on back to Ryan O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue and Gates both with the meatballs. Now, that is not necessarily the sentence that that many might think. And the reason is, Caleb, well, cautions breed cautions. There's a lucky dog involved. And the caution laps are so long here that you can repair at least 3 minutes worth of damage for every caution that flies. And so even if your car's got 10 minutes worth of damage, just stay on the lead lap. Or keep running. You may eventually get that baby fixed and have a chance at the end.
Yeah, you do indeed. And we saw that at Daytona with Mr. Excitement, Justin Osman. He was actually 2 laps down. And I want to say it was the truck race, not the Grand National race. He was 2 laps down at Daytona. And on the last lap, he was actually fighting inside the top 5, despite being 2 laps down, getting in an incident earlier on. It just goes to show, these super speedway races, you're not out until that engine's basically blown up, or if you got like 30 minutes worth of repairs. It is possible to come back even from just a few laps down.
It is. Now the problem for Ryan O'Donohue here is that he had to tow, and so he's already 2 laps down now. He's scheduled to go 3 down. The pace car is now at the entrance to pit road, so these guys that are on the pit lane, they're going to want to get going if they can get going to avoid going that lap down. Everybody is away except for Sam Crow and David Dunwoody. And those cars are going to go. Those cars are going to go a lap down, and they may be electing to go a lap down at this point, knowing that there's going to be at least one more caution, if not more, and so they'd rather just get it all fixed now and be done with it. Caleb.
Yeah, it is. David Dunway currently getting that damage repaired. Doesn't look like he has very much. Maybe it's just some minor suspected damage that he's able to get repaired. He does have the lucky dog at the moment, so even if we don't get another stage caution before the end of stage number 2, he will get it by then and be back on the lead lap at the beginning. At least stage number 3, as long as another car doesn't go a lap down in between then and now. Ryan O'Donoghue's still on pit lane. He's still got massive damage. I'd be very surprised if he's able to come back out. Honestly, it is pretty heavy damage from him. Andrew Gates doesn't appear like he has the worst damage, but it could be some underneath. He is still on pit lane, but pace car is in 3. We'll see. They're going this time around, see if David Dunwoody is at least able to get back out. He pulls out of his pit box and is going to come out pit lane here.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you see guys on pit lane for that long and there's not a lot of damage evident on the car, that means that they've broken a toe link. If memory serves, that is about a 3-minute repair, and that's about the amount of time that David Dunwoody was on the pit lane. He only lost 1 lap. Sam Crow stayed on the lead lap. Andrew Gates, Ryan O'Donohue remain on the pit lane. The pace car is coming through turns 3 and 4. He's going to duck on off, and that's going to leave the field under the command of Greg Evans. Let's watch this one from the blimp. How about it? You just got to wait so long to restart. There's the restart zone. It feels like an eternity, Caleb, but away we go. And Greg Evans has the lead over now Troy Carricker and the 33. That's not correctly numbered. I believe that is Matt Metler. So the 33 on the screen is the 0-1 on the scorecard. But Greg Evans got a huge jump, Caleb.
Yeah, he did indeed, but he got a little bit of a blink there, it appeared. But Christian Light has that outside line. He was working with Greg Evans at the beginning of the stage, and now they're going side by side through 3 and 4. A lot more forms of an outside line than we've seen all day today. James Hodgson trying to push Christian Light to get around the bottom line of Greg Evans, Troy Carricker, and Crash Neon.
Now, what this has done is there are only 20 cars now that were not involved and do not have damage. And so even though you've got, from Franco Alvarez back, so 19 cars without damage, even though you've got everybody still in this lead draft, the problem is this. some of those cars are damaged to varying degrees, and so while they may be able to keep up in the draft, they are not going to be able. Christian Light slices across James Hodgson. I thought for sure that was going to be another yellow light, but James Hodgson lifts out of the power and lets Christian Light on through. A lot of these cars are going to be able to keep up in the draft, Caleb, but they're not going to be able to pull out and make a pass.
No, they will not, and that's kind of, if you have that damage and you're not able to go any quicker, you're just kind of stuck. But sometimes that's just a good thing. If you're not really going to race and you're just going to try to stay in the draft to just try to keep up, if you got the damage, sometimes that's a benefit because, well, possibly going to be less aggressive on track, so maybe you're able to see the accidents happen a lot sooner before they actually do. So it could be a benefit of the doubt. We got stage number 3 starting in about 13 laps time. The caution will come out for that, and you could get that damage repaired, and then you could really go at it at the beginning of stage number 3. We go back around to. I'm trying to think of my words right now. What's going on, Murph? But get that damage repaired at the end of stage number 2, and you should be all good to go. Is basically what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, you should. I mean, look, this isn't over yet, right? We're looking back. We'll go ahead and look back at David Dunwoody. He's detached from that lead draft. And there you see that number 28 Chevy Camaro. No pass media on the hood of that automobile. He's out of the lead draft. He's a lap down. He's not worried about it. He's got Sam Crow behind him. These two cars are running along about 11 seconds, 10, 11 seconds off the lead. They are about 3 seconds a lap slower. They'll be able to do this until the end of the stage, no problem. They're not going to lose any more time, and you're right. They'll come back. They'll get the rest of that damage fixed. And onward toward the front, it's worth noting Gates and O'Donohue still on the pit lane, and John Hutchins has gone to the lead, Caleb.
Yes, he has. He's been holding that outside line basically the entirety of the race. Now he has Greg Evans on his rear bumper, pushing him up towards the front. On his outside line, I believe that is Matt Metler, fourth one back. Raymond White, a name we don't talk about very often, also holding the outside line. They go back towards the bottom. John Hutchins still holds the lead over Greg Evans here.
Yes, he does, and Raymond White is third, Christian Light fourth, the Ford-facing 88 of John Hutchins fifth. And how about Matt Metler? That's a name we haven't called much, if not at all, this season. He runs along in the in the sixth spot.
Yeah, it is. He's having a very, very good day here at Talladega. We're about just over 10 laps to go on the stage here. He finds himself in 6th. We haven't talked about him very much at all over the course of the season, so we'll see if he's able to make his way back up towards the front. He's trying to make that outside line work. He made it work earlier to get up towards the front. Now he doesn't really have that help to continue upwards and onwards because, well, everybody's kind of rock the bottom. The field's kind of spread out at the moment, with just over 10 to go.
We're going to get 10 laps to go this time. Again, one thing we are monitoring is this man, Sam Crow, in the 8. He is losing about 4.5 seconds a lap to the leaders. That is not what this man, David Dunwoody, wants to see because Dunwoody is not going to lose another lap given the current pace. He's at 53.633 the last time through, losing about 2 seconds a lap. Sam Crow is in trouble, and that's bad news for David Dunwoody. Dunwoody does not want Sam Crow to be lapped here because that would mean he doesn't get the lucky dog. Meanwhile, Greg Evans runs along in second behind John Hutchins, and we've kind of simmered down now, Caleb. It's the calm before the storm as we head toward complete lap 41, heading toward 42.
Well, just as you say that, Greg Evans shoots to the outside to take the lead there, coming across the start-finish line. We're getting very close into turn 1. We're 3 wide in the back, too.
all kinds of action going on back in the field. There's that's James Hodgson. He's racing along with Lee Campbell. You got Ted Craven, Troy Carricker, Trevor Ryan, and Matt Mettler in the fight. And this is, if David Dunwoody is watching a broadcast, he's saying, "Can't y'all run over each other? Somebody get sideways." They're 3 wide back for 15th. That's Mike Rigney, Donald Green, and Brian Sharp.
Get wide and the car's into the wall. There's a bit of contact. Oh, keep it clean here, boys. You only got 8 more laps to the stage here.
That was the 79 of Eric Corder, the 6 of Donald Green, the 125 of Donald Sharp. Donald Green, rather. Somehow they all made it through that, but I thought for sure that was about to be a heck of a mess. Back at the front, Greg Evans has now assumed the lead from Raymond White and John Hutchins. Christian Light is now 4th. James Hodgson is 5th. And you're going to start to see those runs begin to build. Sam Crow, by the way, is 30 seconds in arrears. And he's still dropping about 4 seconds a lap. That means that they would catch him with 1 lap to go in the stage, if my math is correct. It probably isn't, but that's what we're going to say. 1 to 2 laps to go is when Sam Crow would go that lap down and deny the lucky dog to David Dunwoody, and that's going to be a problem for everybody in that pack, because they're going to arrive at Sam Crow right precisely at the time where they're going to be wanting to get 3 wide, try to race for the stage win.
Yeah, Will, and we've seen that happen at Daytona quite a few times. There's numerous cars that weren't in any sort of draft. I mean, way in the back there's cars getting loose off a turn.
Whoa, we've got car in the wall. It's Christian Light.
We're shuffling.
That's Raymond White around.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
That is Raymond White, hard in the wall. That's going to save Sam Crow, and it bails out David Dunwoody. Caution is on the speedway. Raymond White backs it down the backstretch wall. He shortened that automobile by about 1.5 foot, as the old Charlotte announcer would say. Let's see what we can see from Raymond White. Here's the push from Christian Light into Greg Evans. Christian Light has to dodge out of the way. He gets in the wall. Raymond White goes down, collects John Hutchins, and from there, it's just a game of pinball, Caleb. Hard contact for Light, hard contact for White, hard contact for the number 60 of Lee Campbell as well. Let's have a look at it from Lee Campbell's point of view here. Doesn't take much at 185 miles an hour, does it, Caleb?
No, it does not. Basically, it was just one massive chain reaction, as you said, when we were watching the incident through. It looked like just kind of Christian Light just got a bump on Raymond White, and that just kind of shoved him forward into Greg Evans, and then the mess of Christian Light and Raymond came together on the outside, shot him back down to the low side, back up towards the high side, and then they just kind of stayed up against the wall there. But I think we got that was on lap 44. We should be able to go green once more before the stage ends here.
I would think we're likely going to be able to do that. I'll tell you what we're going to see for sure is a lot of these cars that still have damage from that first yellow. They didn't get it all fixed. They're for sure going to come right now. This would also be a spot where you could come in, grab some repair. Christian Light has already been to pit lane. There's the 60 of Lee Campbell. He's coming down pit road. Dunwoody has to wait for the lucky dog in order to come to pit lane. Say, hey, Lewis Hayes is coming. He's going to get some more damage fixed. Let's go in and have a look at Lewis Hayes. There he is in the Grease Monkey Special for Robert Turnbull. I can tell you Andrew Gates will not be re-entering this one. Gates's car is smoking heavily. That one's blowed up. Ryan O'Donohue is not in the car. It is currently being fixed. But I don't believe it will be. They're still working on it, though. You can kind of see the body panels have started to come back into place. But let's look at, say, Lewis Hayes. He came in 17 seconds. That's a routine stop, Caleb.
Yeah, it is, and maybe he just, wants to get the fuel done now before the end of the stage. If you're not, and I think he was kind of midfield, so he wouldn't have gotten that many stage points. Maybe he just wants to stay out and be up towards the front at the beginning of stage number 3 and not have to worry about pitting under caution again.
I think you're absolutely right. I think say, hey, Lewis Hayes is saying, look, I'm going to stop now. I'm not going to stop at the stage break. Everybody's going to have to stop again. Why the heck not? It's not going to really hurt anything. Because most people are going to want to stop before the window anyway. He's got a teammate or before the window, or they're going to want to stop as soon as possible. This is not a track where you want to run to the end of the window. You want to stop as soon as you can. David Dunwoody has now taken the lucky dog, and so we'll see if he decides to come down pit road. I can't imagine that he wouldn't, given that he's going to have to start tailing Charlie on the restart anyway. Sam Crow is still on the pit lane. And there's the pace car. So Sam Crow is going to want to get off the pit lane here, unless he figures, look, I might as well go the lap down again because I'd be the lucky dog. He is not, though. He's back out, and as long as he can get back around to the tail end of the field, make 3 laps without further damage, he'll be able to come back in and get what did he have? A minute 44 there. He'll be able to come back in and get additional repair under the next caution flag as we get down to decide Blackmagic Studios stage break number 2. Do want to thank, by the way, everybody for joining in, everybody for tuning it in. You are watching the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series on P1 if you haven't already done it. Make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to the channel so that you too can get in on all of the iRacing fun. We've got a lineup planned for our friends out there in the sim racing world. Upcoming tomorrow, the Truck Series is off, but don't let that disturb you. Because we have plenty more high-quality iRacing action scheduled in the days to come. Sunday, it's the Sim Gaming Expo Classic IndyCar Series from Willow Springs at 2, followed by the Votive Indy Oval Series Season 4, Round 7 live from the Phoenix Raceway at 8. Monday, it's a doubleheader, the IndyCar Series Monday Night Top Split from Richmond Speedway, 8 o'clock. They're going to be followed by the Indy Next Road Series Monday Night Top Split from Mosport. On Tuesday, it's a triple header, Caleb. The Indy Oval Series is going to go off at 8:15. They're going to be followed by the Indy Next Oval Series Tuesday night top split from Indianapolis. And then the Area 51 IndyCar Series is the nightcap live from Charlotte on Wednesday. It's another doubleheader. The Horizon IndyCar Series from Auto Club Speedway at 8 o'clock. The Formula Super Series from Road America at 8:20. The AMA will be right back here next week, round 12 of the Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 start. Same time next Thursday night, same bad channel, same bad commentators. We're going to get a 3-lap shootout for the end of Blackmagic Studios, stage number 2. Greg Evans has taken the green flag, and away we go, Caleb.
Away we go indeed. Greg Evans gets out to a huge lead. James Hodgson is going to push him on the bottom there. John Hodgins, meanwhile, is getting a push from Franco Alvarez on the outside. We'll see if that outside line is able to get anything going. We have a lot of players that like the outside line. John Hodgins, Franco Alvarez have been trying to make that outside line work. We'll see if they're able to pull it back up towards the likes of Greg Evans and James Hodgson.
Yeah, we're going to see for sure. Greg Evans leads it, James Hodgson second, and they are locked right together. You couldn't fit a piece of paper between those two automobiles. Troy Carricker is third. He's got John Hutchins to his outside. Then Crash Neon and Franco Alvarez are doing battle on what is effectively row 3. And look at Alvarez trying to push Hutchins through that tri-oval. We've got 2 laps to go for the stage, Caleb.
Yeah, it is. It's all out from here in stage number 2. No more being conservative. You're going to try to push as hard as you can. Franco Alvarez trying to get, as close as he can without gaining too much side draft effect on his car through the corner. Now we'll see how they are on the back straightaway. They're side by side with Troy Carricker, and I believe that is Crash Neon on the bottom. That bottom line is so far prevailing with Greg Evans at the point, though.
Yeah, and the reason that is that James Hodgson in the forward-facing 88 has proven very loyal to Greg Evans at the front of this field. He is pushing him right on along, and that's allowing Greg Evans to continue the momentum. Troy Carricker pops out of line. He's going to try to lead that high line to the promised land. It's Carricker to the top. He is even with James Hodgson. Mike Rigney gets kicked out of line. He's going to get back up on the track. Mike Rigney, does he save it?
He's stuck on the apron. He kept out off the track. He's stuck on the apron.
So Mike Rigney saves it at the front of the field. You've got a battle royale for this front spot. It's now Troy Carricker in the lead. John Hutchins to the outside. Greg Evans has been relegated back to the 5th spot. Franco Alvarez gets kicked out of line by the 45. Woohoo! We're getting down to the nitty-gritty now, Caleb. Last lap of the stage. This is the end of Blackmagic Studios stage number 2. John Hutchins has it for now. Can Troy Carricker rally on the bottom? Here they come to the line. It's going to be John Hutchins for the stage. And remember, he's got to keep it now until the yellow flies.
All right, man. Caution is out.
Caution is out. Greg Evans got booted out. Big crash in the back. We're going to have to go review that. Greg Evans got booted out of line. Now they'll all get to reassume their positions, and Justin Osterman is also involved. Donald Green with a meatball, and that's going to be night done for him, and this is going to be a hard crash. And what has happened to Donald Green here across the line? And so the yellow light's out, and it looks like Donald Green gets in the back of the car, Randy Dunlap, and then they all crash together with Lee Campbell, and that is a hard lick for Donald Green, as well as Randy Dunlap. Dunlap is able to continue on. Donald Green, though, is not going to be able to keep going. That number 6 is, I believe, Caleb, that one might be out of motor oil.
Well, it depends on what color the smoke is, of course. Usually oil is usually a blue there. Looks more white there, so I'm going to say some coolant. I'm going to say coolant there, Murph.
Might be radiator. You think that might be radiator related? It could be. The oil cooler, of course, is also up at the front of these cars. Donald Green to the pit lane and gets it on the grass a little bit there. Randy Dunlap also will bring his car into the pit lane. Dunlap may be okay. There's his Outland Custom Arms machine. He's going to need a new TV panel on the back. He's going to need some help on the front of that thing, but I don't know that car is all that bad, Caleb. He's going to be able to get back. A spoiler's still on it. That's a good sign, right?
Let's just say it's better than Dale Sr. at the end of Daytona in 97, I want to say.
You're right. It was 1997. They had to duct tape. They got ready to send him. Yeah, they got ready to send him back out. And the NASCAR official that was on pit lane, I remember very clearly. The NASCAR official that was on pit lane pointed to the deck lid and said, "You have to have a spoiler." Chocolate Myers ran back over the pit wall, grabbed a roll of duct tape, and said, "I'll fix that," and just taped the deck lid back on the car.
Taped everything.
Taped everything. I remember at one point they were winding duct tape around one of the tubes in the roll cage, and they weren't really taping anything. It was just somebody spooling duct tape everywhere. Pretty much everybody has come onto the pit lane, by the way, on the lead lap. You're going to see one car stay out. Randy Dunlap has exited the pit lane. Raymond White stayed out to get his lap back. And so there's Raymond White he will go back to the tail end of the lead lap. There's still severe damage from that to that 05 from previous accidents, but he's going to stay out and get his lap back. Say, Lewis Hayes did not pit, so he is going to stay out. He'll assume the lead. Franco Alvarez, Trevor Ryan, Vance Fisher, Greg Evans are your race off pit road. Franco Alvarez and Trevor Ryan, either gas only or 2 tires. Vance Fisher, 2 tires. Greg Evans begins the parade with 4, with the exception of Matt Metler. Metler also got 2. So just to kind of let everybody know what the strategy is as we roll around under the admin box caution flag. Race control at the touch of a button. If you race controller, league owner, do hosted sessions, you need one of those. That's www.adminbox.com. Caleb. I thought we were going to get away with the end of Blackmagic Studios stage number 2 without any more action. Blackmagic Studios is a small operation dedicated to high quality iRacing paints and wraps for any car. Visit them on Discord or Facebook for your next high quality iRacing paint. That's Blackmagic Studios. I wholly endorse their efforts. When you see me on the track, it is in a Blackmagic Studios designed machine. Caleb likes the paint on my car. It's the right colors.
Yes, it is. It's very shiny as well with the spec map you got going on it. We kind of whenever I got that Freebird livery, we kind of twin out there. It's amazing.
We do.
Bash Brothers. That's where the origin of the Bash Brothers came from.
We do. I told David Dunwoody, who's the proprietor at Blackmagic, I asked Andy what it would take. We call him Andy. And I asked Andy what it would take to get me the gold wings that are on your car, and he told me I needed to win an Olympic gold medal. So I don't think that's going to happen. But it was. You
can win an Olympic gold at Michelob Ultra beer chugging. If that ever became a sport, I feel like you could win it.
No, that title would go to Phil Krause. That's for sure.
Well, no, that's just general beer chugging, and he also has slandered the Michelob Ultra. So
that's true. Phil, if you're out there listening, we love you. We'll see you in September at the Sim Gaming Expo. That's going to be a huge. That was a big event last time. It's going to be even bigger this time. I have a feeling. I look forward to not only seeing you there, Caleb, but also participating in the festivities. What we need to do is have everybody over to the old room for some hot wings the first night. We'll just order a mess of them. We'll just order a mess of hot wings from B-Dubs, and we'll take a community vote. How's that?
I like it. Speaking of Phil Krause, I wonder if they'll get his name correct this time around.
Absolutely not. I've put out the plea to George Anzaldo. Please leave his name as F. Krause. Please. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Say, hey, Lewis Hayes will lead it away. He's got Franco Alvarez is outside and Trevor Ryan behind him. And that's, once again, I talked about at the top of the show, Talladega is often a place that produces a first-time winner. Only Greg Evans, among the top 5, has ever won an AMA race.
Yes, he is. Franco Alvarez came very, very close. We talked a little bit earlier about how close he was in the last 2 races. He was leading both those races at one point. We'll see if he's able to finally get the job done there. They came very close to contact on the back straightaway there. Greg Evans, the only one, the winner. He's won 4 times this season, and he's won the other Superspeedway race of Daytona at the very first race of the season.
Donald Green says he looks forward to meeting us, Caleb, at the Sim Gaming Expo. I said we're going to serve the hot wings on your bed, which doubles as my dining room table. How's that?
I thought I had the dining room table.
We got somewhere to serve the wings. Matt Metler is going to go to the lead over Franco Alvarez. Say Lewis Hayes restarted this race in the lead. He has now been dropped back to fourth, and you got to wonder if the guys that made the pit stops there are banking on. I wouldn't think they could go the rest of the way. Say Lewis Hayes obviously stopped at a caution flag right before the final stage, and so he's plenty okay to go here.
Yeah, it is. I reckon they will have to stop in the third stage for fuel at some point just to make a splash. But it's getting very, very dicey up at the front here. They're kind of swerving in and out, and it's not very orderly on that high side here at the moment here, Murph.
It is most certainly not orderly. John Hutchins is your leader. That top line, you can see they're breaking apart, sliding all around. Greg Evans going to try to shoot the middle between Vance Fisher and Christopher Logan, I believe, is the car on the outside. But they are all over the place in that midfield, Caleb. And Greg Evans backed out of that big time.
Yeah, Greg is playing it very, very patient here. He did restart inside the top 5. Now is lurking, just trying to stay inside the top 10. And he's kind of fallen back a little bit. His teammate Ryan O'Donohue got in that early incident. He's taken out of the race. Sam Crow has gotten himself in that incident as well. And Lewis Hayes is fighting inside the top 5, so he doesn't really have any teammate help at the moment to try to get back up towards the front if he wants to, so he's going to have to rely on the people around him and try to learn what their drafting style is, as right in front of him that 09 of Keith Graham gets a little bit squirrely going down the backstretch.
He did indeed. Keith Graham will get it straightened up and keep going right on in the right direction. And there's Keith. He runs it along in the 09 and 11th place, but back up at the front, John Hutchins leads it from Matt Metler, Franco Alvarez, Say Hey Lewis Hayes, Trevor Ryan, and Crash Neon. Neon, have we seen Crash Neon in a car that is not ridiculously colorful, Caleb?
No, he's always got that I believe it's sponsored by the Ghost energy drink, and it's always some wacky version because but if very appropriate, it fits that brand of energy drink. So I feel like it's very appropriate. We got a car on the apron there in the background. I believe that's David Dunwoody on the apron.
It is David Dunwoody, and I think he just wants to go to the back of this thing. He's thinking, look, I've already crashed this car once. I don't feel the need to do so again. So he's going to get that. He's going to get that right back to the back of the line. Meanwhile, his teammate Brian Sharp is looking toward the front here. He's up on the outside. Meanwhile, you've got Randy Dunlap. Dunlap laps down. Whoa, big loose Brian Sharp. Dunlap up on the wall. Everybody's going to make it through, Caleb, but that was wild.
Yeah, that was too close for comfort, as some people would say, trying to get around that lap car there. Everybody, thankfully, gets through it. Donald Green has disconnected from the session, so we got another retirement on the night there. But lap traffic, we talk about it a lot, at the mile and a half, the short tracks, the road courses, super speedways. Well, it's not, one car just dealing with lap traffic. It's an entire pack dealing with one car as lap traffic and how you're able to navigate around them. And we just saw a good case scenario of try to get around them as quickly and cleanly as possible there with the entire pack. Thankfully, all of it got through. Nobody got tangled up in it. And we are still racing here at Talladega.
We are clean and green, Caleb. 61 of 113. We're getting down toward the back half of this event, and Caleb, What are we looking for as we head toward lap 62 of 113? When do we think we're going to see pit stops here? It's kind of a variable thing, isn't it?
It is. I reckon most people will want to try to run that tank out as far as they can, because you don't want to pit too early and have nobody else not come down pit road. Well, in that situation, you're just going to lose a bunch of time because you won't have the draft. So I reckon a lot of people will try to make that fuel tank go as long as they can. Franco Alvarez gets out to the lead here. We said, he's been very good in the last 2 races. He now leads here at Talladega in just his 3rd start. We'll see what he's able to do. But, we got the pit stops. We know it's going to come around. Most drivers are going to probably stretch it to the end of the tank. But one thing they're also going to do is try to form some bonds on the track. Even outside their teammates, who are they able to trust? Who is able to work together and get up towards the front? It looks like Franco Alvarez and Brian Sharp are working very, very well together, as well as John Hutchins. Though that trio of cars has worked very well in the first 63 laps of this race, to where now they've kind of formed a little bit of alliance, at least for this race, to try to work together to maintain that lead here.
That's a great point. And here's the thing, your friends are where you find them in some in a lot of cases. Brian Sharp, his teammates Justin Osterman, David Dunwoody involved in earlier altercations, so he's kind of a lone ranger. You've got the DVD Motorsports team. They've been hurt with the absence of Ryan O'Donoghue here. They're kind of split up. Mike Rigney's also been involved in an accident. Sahi Lewis Hayes has got his car fixed, but he and Greg Evans are split up right now. Your friends are going to be where you find them as you get down time to talk turkey, and it's going to form some unlikely alliances. Right now, though, Franco Alvarez has the lead. You got Vance Fisher trying to drive that high line forward. The Tabasco Fiasco makes a bid for the top spot. Can he clear him? Vance Fisher does not get clear, but he drug Keith Graham up with him. So too, the 79 of Eric Corder is there.
Yeah, it is, and this is the first time we've really seen the high line kind of, actually dominate here. So far, it's been a low line fest, but it looks like the high line is the preferred line, or at least early on in stage number 3. We'll see if that maintains towards the end of the race here, and what moves these drivers will make to try to get to that high line there.
Yes, indeed. That's the line that seemed to be moving, and now Vance Fisher will pull down in front of Franco Alvarez just as Brian Sharp pops out of line and in front of John Hutchins, and now Brian Sharp is going to make a bid for the lead, Caleb.
As he gets to the outside, he left Franco Alvarez on the bottom there. We'll see how he is able to do. John Hutchins and Brian Sharp have been working together for a majority of this race. We'll see if they're able to get around the outside of the Tabasco Fiasco car, which I believe if we wanted to count this car as a part of the Tabasco Fiasco, this is the first laps that car has ever led in the history of the Tabasco sponsorship in NASCAR.
That's absolutely true. Of course, the Tabasco Fiasco, as it's known, was a corporately owned car by International Sports Management. They arranged for what at the time was pretty massive sponsorship from Tabasco, and they had Pontiacs, they had Todd Bodine, and they didn't qualify for hardly anything. And so the team made the decision to fire Todd Bodine and switch to Chevrolets, and that pretty much ended the partnership. At one point, Tabasco was threatening not to pay due to breach of contract. They put Darrell Waltrip in the car so that it would be guaranteed a spot. Tabasco was upset that Todd Bodine was not in the car and that they weren't driving Pontiacs, which they had put this entire marketing campaign around. It was a mess. And I vividly remember Darrell Waltrip in the Tabasco fire suit driving for that team, which had later on purchased the remnants of his team, and so he was driving essentially for the new owners of his former car, and he was grousing about the whole thing, and it was Darrell that came up with the Tabasco fiasco. They left NASCAR and basically said they would never, ever come back due to the way that the whole thing was handled. But it's a great looking paint scheme, Caleb.
Oh, it's an amazing paint scheme. It's just a shame that it never went anywhere with it.
Indeed, it does. The owners of the original team were far better salesmen, I think, than they were racers. Meanwhile, it's good to see Brian Sharp leading one of these races. He is a staunch, and Vance Fisher is on the apron. They're going to let him back in. That could have been ugly. But Brian Sharp is a staunch AMA competitor. He is in every one of these races. He's an admin. He's one of those guys driving around with an admin box. You see the sponsorship on the side of his machine. It's good to see him up front having a good day. Vance Fisher is going to get back to lead, and here comes John Hutchins. Hutchins has a massive run on the outside, Caleb.
Yeah, he does. He's got that run on the outside, kind of getting right next to the wall there. He's got the 09 of Keith Graham right behind him. And they're kind of like bumping up and down. Not very orderly at the moment, that high side at the moment. The bottom is prevailing. Franco Alvarez looks to the outside. He's going to try to take the lead away from Vance Fisher.
He is. Franco Alvarez, I believe, and with Vance Fisher going into turn 3. The car that kind of triggered the disorganization on the outside was the 09 of Keith Graham. He got very loose going through turns 3 and 4 the last time by. That created a gap. That allowed Franco Alvarez to lay back, get a run, and move to the outside of Vance Fisher. Now he's got some help from John Hutchins and Keith Graham. Fisher, Brian Sharp, and Matt Mettler run along on the inside, and they've got Lewis Hayes and Christian Light behind them. Lewis Hayes and Christian Light have been up front pretty much this entire event, Caleb.
Yes, they have. Say Lewis Hayes. He doesn't really have any teammate help. We mentioned that. And briefly, we are coming up to lap traffic here. Raymond White on the outside. He's going to hold the wall here. Try to keep it orderly here, boys. So far, so good. As we go through the first 3 rows of cars, they get a little bit tight with, I believe that was Eric Quarter that get a little bit tight. We got a car in the apron. That is James Hodgson briefly getting to the apron there as we get the lap car down the order, but it appears like he's going to join the pack here.
Yeah, he is. And look, that's not, that's Raymond White doing the right thing. That's what you want, is for the lap car to stay to the outside, and White is going to slip back. He's going to try to hang on to this draft and wait for a caution flag as he's gone a lap down now. But here's the thing. That's not Raymond White's fault. It's just a matter of the draft. The draft is going along at anywhere between 10 and 15 miles an hour faster than Raymond White. And it's not that Raymond White wants to be that slow. He's got the throttle on the floorboards, Caleb. The benefit of the draft is so huge around here that the difference is about 10 miles an hour. I looked down at the telemetry. White was doing 177 as they passed him, doing 185. 184, 185.
Which is terrifying to think about, that it happens sometimes in real life, and anything could go wrong any moment, especially with that big of a speed differential. But they're able to navigate the lap car this time around again. So no harm, no foul. We continue forward on lap 72 here at Talladega. They got another lap car on the apron there. That's Randy Dunlap. He's holding the apron, though, so they're not going to have to worry about getting around him.
Yeah, Randy Dunlap does the sporting thing. He's going to get completely out of the way of the train that's coming down the tracks, and the reason he wants to do that is he knows he's just out there making laps to make laps at this point. He's already 4 laps down. There's no real way for him to get back into this without something wild happening. But he's trying to stay out there and circulate so that he can score as many points as possible. If there's another big wreck or two, he might be able to pick up some spots, and points are points, right, Caleb?
Points are indeed points, and we look at the how many championships have been decided by just one or two positions over the course of the entire season, especially with this chase format that we're going to go to here in the AMA series as well as the real life series. How many times a championship has been decided by just one position? So every single position here counts in here in the AMA as well as any real life racing series. It can make all the difference of whether or not you walk away as a champion or you walk away as second place.
You've absolutely got that right, and you want to make sure that you're in position to gain as many positions as possible, and no harm for Randy Dunlap doing that. He's staying out of the way. He's not creating a situation that's bad for anybody else. Look at those cars from that head-on shot provided by Whiplash Sim Cams down the back straightaway. They're bouncing around, and now we're starting to see some separation. John Hutchins, Vance Fisher, Franco Alvarez, and Brian Sharp have all cleared the battle for fifth between Mettler and Keith Graham.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit racy. The pack is becoming very disorganized at the moment. We're 3 wide in the back there. That is Greg Evans, or Trevor Ryan, and Mike Rigney, I believe, going 3 wide. They have been 3 wide for about the last lap or so, and they finally get back orderly. You got Ted Craven on Greg Evans inside, making still 3 wide, and Greg Evans has dropped to the rear of the field here.
Yeah, I got to think that Greg Evans right now is just moving toward the back. I don't think he's wanting to contest anything. He's trying to get out of the way. You can almost sense, Caleb, when one of these races, we do it in Indy cars when, guys are 3x3x3x3, and they're starting to bank wheels at a place like Michigan or something like that. You can kind of sense when something's about to happen, and you try to get out before it happens. I think that's kind of what Greg Evans is doing. He smells the storm brewing, and he wants out. He also wants to find Mike Rigney, who is one of his teammates, so that he's got some help when he starts to work back toward the front, and he can bring Mike Rigney with him. So they want to try to hook up and get together, and you're kind of seeing a positioning thing too, I think, from Greg. But most of all, I think he saw himself 3 wide and said, I don't want any part of that on lap 76 of 113.
No, he does not, especially with, a possibility of we're going to have to pit again. You want to at least make it to the pit stop before you officially go racing, because it may all be for naught if you wreck out before even you had to pit. So they got another lap car in front that is
Lee Campbell.
Lee Campbell on the outside.
Yeah.
He's going to hold the outside, do the Gem Lee thing, and let the pack go by him.
I wonder if that was something that they worked out in the pre-race drivers meeting, is to see Franco Alvarez pull it out of line, pull up high, and briefly take the lead with help from Keith Graham and Troy Carricker, who's moved his way back to the front. A great run tonight for Troy Carricker as well. Carricker to the top side of Vance Fisher in that 73, and he's got some help from Trevor Ryan and Ted Craven. And Ted Craven, remember, started this race, Caleb, from the pit lane. He's moved it up to the 7th spot, and he's still coming forward. That top line has got some organization to it as Troy Carricker surges forward to the right rear of Keith Graham. Carricker's going to be in the lead here before too much longer. That high side, and you can see it, has got the momentum.
Yeah, that high side is currently leapfrogging the bottom there. They're getting such massive runs down the straightaways. Now Troy Carricker goes to the bottom, and now we'll see, I guarantee you, we'll probably see Keith Graham and Trevor Ryan eventually get back up towards the front here. Troy Carricker throws a block. He goes to the apron, gets back up, 3 wide in the background. Meanwhile, Greg Evans, as we said, as he was in the back there, now he's inside the top 5.
Yes, he is, and that may have been a situation where Greg Evans said, okay, I'm gonna make a timing run. You ever do that, Caleb, where you're in a draft race and you fall to the back just to see how long it takes you to get to the front at some point in the middle of the race, just to see? I bet that's what Greg Evans might have been doing. Either that or he was just in a mess and backed out of it. Or it could be both. Who knows? Big door slam from Keith Graham to Greg Evans, or Greg Evans to Keith Graham. That could have got interesting, but Evans and Graham both gathered up, and now they're going to start lining that top side. That's the one thing about being one of the winningest drivers in AMA history. Guys see you, and they want to follow you at a place like this, Caleb.
Yeah, they do. You know, Greg Evans, 18 wins in his AMA career, 4 wins on the season, currently leads the championship. Everybody else is looking at him and is like, okay, we need to follow him because he is going to lead us to the front of this pack here. And clearly he has done that. He was at the back of the pack not even 3 laps ago, and now he finds himself inside the top 5. So now everybody wants to be behind him and see what kind of moves he does. Do it the same way Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart did with each other, and make the same moves as they did to try to navigate up towards the front and work together with Greg Evans to try to get to the lead of this thing.
Absolutely, and here's the problem with that, though. He's only got 4 other cars with him on that high side. Everybody has started to migrate toward the bottom as we close in on green flag pit stops. They've been out now for 28 laps, with the exception of Say Hey Lewis Hayes, who's got 35 laps on his tank. And the thing for Say Hey Lewis Hayes is he's got to be thinking about, when am I going to make that final pit stop? And he's fallen back to the 17th spot. And my guess is Say Hey Lewis Hayes is back here trying to nurse the petrol in the tank, because you do not want to pit by yourself here, Caleb.
No, he does not. And, he's got teammates, but it's not enough teammates to where if they all pit at the same time, and even if they try to form a little mini draft, they're still going to be slower than the massive pack that is still out on track. So Say Hey Lewis Hayes is kind of on an island by himself, even if he has teammates that comes with him down pit road.
You're only really talking about 4 laps difference probably when it comes down to it. 3 laps under green, and then he had a bunch under the yellow light, and so he may yet still be okay. But to make it effective, you really need probably 4 or 5 cars. Anything less than that, and it's just not going to be fast enough. 2 cars, definitely not. 3, you're close, but you really need 4 or more to get that big Talladega style draft going and run as quick as one of these giant packs. You see Greg Evans, he is trying to make the move down the back here, and there's Greg. You see him still working around Vance Fisher, Keith Graham. Now he's going to slide in between the two, and that's going to leave just 2 cars, Hutchins and Ted Craven, to that outside line.
Yes, it does indeed. The outside line, while it seemed very, very quick at the beginning of this third stage, it seems like everybody's going to go back to the bottom and just kind of fall in line here, probably just waiting to get their pit stop done and over, and then finally make that mad dash to the finish to try get the lead of this thing. I think you're about just shy of 50 laps of fuel here. Am I correct in saying that here, Murph?
Yeah, I'm somewhere around there. It gets to the point, though, how late do you leave it? The last thing you want to do is
be left out by yourself.
Well, besides that, you don't want to pit by yourself. You don't want to pit by yourself, but you really don't want to run out of gas. So, like, if you're Troy Carricker up here leading this race, burning the fuel, you do not want to run out of gas in front of the field. I'm not saying Troy would do that, but it does happen in these races, especially in the sim environment. Guys will try to cut it super, super, super close.
Drivers are posting their pitting in chats in the Greg Evans, David Dunaway, Franco Alvarez. All have posted that they are pitting this time. Yep, here we go.
On the pit lane we go.
The entire field.
Yeah, everybody's coming down the pit lane, and there you see it. Try to get out of the way of Rhino Donahue's wrecked machine, but there they all are. Say Hey Lewis Hayes, Mike Rigney, and Sam Crow were the only three that stayed out. Everybody else is on the pit lane. And we'll get down toward the pit exit. Very quick stops, 8.7 seconds for Greg Evans. Most of these cars, either 2 tires or fuel only. There are some that took 4. Franco Alvarez got 4. But the majority of these cars, 2 tires or gas only. Vance Fisher, too fast entering. He's going to have the old 40-second hold, and that's going to pretty much end the night for Vance Fisher, barring a caution flag. Meanwhile, Lewis Hayes, Mike Rigney, and Sam Crow, they have all come to pit lane, and we're going to see how this works out for them. You see Vance Fisher exiting his pit stop. I'd be willing to bet that they stayed out. They're going to do the extra lap. They came in for the clean in, clean out, and it's going to be, my guess is gas only. Mike Rigney is already away. Hayes is away. Now Sam Crow is away. Mike Rigney will lead him off the pit lane. He took gas only. His teammates got tires. And there goes Greg Evans along with Trevor Ryan. And these two have broken away from the field. Troy Carricker, there he is, along with Franco Alvarez and Matt Mettler. Those cars are in a tight draft, but they are about 3 seconds behind. Is Mike Rigney going to be able to slide in behind him? He does not. Osterman, Hutchins, and Light get past him, and Mike Rigney is going to fall all the way back to the duel between Brian Sharp, David Dunwoody, and Christopher Logan. There's that group. And so we've got some splitting of the groups. Greg Evans and Trevor Ryan have staked themselves to about a 2.5 second lead at the end of this pit cycle. The problem is they're going to lose about a half a second a lap. This pack is all going to be right back together in about 6-7 laps time, Caleb.
It could be back together, but it all depends on when they eventually do catch Greg Evans and Trevor Ryan up front. Do they decide to work together, or do they immediately start fighting? If they try to work together with Trevor Ryan and Greg Evans, that 5-car pack can easily maintain enough pace to where the pack doesn't even form back up at all, and they could just try to run away and try to work together until probably about the last 4 or 5 laps, and then they can start going at it. If they decide to work together here, we'll see what decision our leader of this second group here of Troy Carricker, if he's going to try to work together with the cars in front to try to break away from the guys behind.
Yeah, the key here is going to be what Carricker, Alvarez, and Mettler do, because when they get to that group, they're going to have the opportunity to pull away from this pack, which is Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman, John Hutchins, and Christian Light. This crew right here is actually losing time to the Brian Sharp, David Dunwoody, Christian Logan, Christopher Logan, Mike Rigney, and Say Hey Lewis Hayes fivesome, and they've got Crash Neon with them. That's going to be 8 cars here pretty soon, and once it becomes 8, they will easily catch the group in front of them, and so on, unless Carricker, Alvarez, and Mettler decide to play nice. And they are getting there pretty quickly. It's 1.3 seconds. So they've already cut that deficit in half, and they are still coming.
Yeah, it is. And once they get within that second, which is typically the draft range in these stock cars, once they get in that second, then they'll start to gain massively. And it looks like they are within that. They just got in that second draft range. So we'll see if they're able to work together with Trevor Ryan, or if they choose to work together with Trevor Ryan and Greg Evans and try to build a gap as much as possible to that massive pack that is behind, basically is now Justin Osborne all the way back down to Crash Neon. They've basically almost formed up. They basically are formed up right now as the second group behind.
Yeah, so now this 3-car plus 6 has become 9. They are going to set off in hot pursuit of Matt Metler. They've got about 2 seconds to get there. We'll get the timing and scoring up for the packs. Meanwhile, the lead group is formed and they waste no time. Troy Carricker goes to the outside of Trevor Ryan. He'll get to second. Greg Evans is going to move up to block that run. But these guys immediately commence to fighting, and that is not going to help their cause because the Osterman-led group from 6th on back is going to start coming. Osterman, this time through, Greg Evans, your leader, 51.876. 51.892. Osterman, 51.807. So about a tenth that time. We'll keep you kind of posted. Now, this is going to help Greg Evans because he's looking out of his windshield and he sees Vance Fisher, and that Vance Fisher car is going to give him a nice pull coming through turns 3 and 4. We'll see what Fisher does. He should move to the top, but that's going to give Greg Evans a nice pull. And not only that, but Fisher should be able to pull into the line with these cars behind Crash Neon, and that's just another car to provide them energy if he can slot in there, Caleb.
Yeah, it is, and he slots into this first group behind, and it looks like he's able to just keep pace here. So now that group of 6 cars, he's actually doing the pace of Matt Metler, the 5th car of that pack. I bet these guys, they're probably good to the end unless Vance Fisher gives draft to the group behind.
Okay, so here's where that stands. Greg Evans last time through 51.226. Justin Osterman 51.080. So a couple of tenths that time. They need Vance Fisher to pull up tight to Matt Metler. But here's the rub, Caleb, and here's kind of the fly in that ointment, if you will. And you probably will. Vance Fisher has an association with the Black Magic team of Osterman, Sharp, and Dunwoody. So there's a friendship there. He's not in Discord with them, but they are known to talk during these races. Matt Metler is also in that Discord with the Black Magic Sim crew. You've got Sharp, you've got Dunwoody, and you've got Osterman down there together. You know, to be completely honest with you, Caleb, he's pulled back up, but you know, they could be asking Vance Fisher, hey, drop back and help us build a bridge. I don't think they're going to necessarily need it because Osterman is still catching, albeit very, very slowly, the group in front. But Fisher is not tight to the back of that crew. See, he's laying off 2 or 3 car lengths, so he's not really providing any additional energy to that 5-car train.
No, he is not, and that's just going to it's not going to hurt them too much, but it's going to hurt enough to the point where, probably honestly, with about 5 to go at the rate they're closing, we will see the pack finally form up. Lap 94 now, 20 laps to go. Gap is about 2 seconds, so 10th a lap, yeah, it'll be pretty close with about 5 to go here.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they'll get there a little bit sooner than that. At present, I'd expect 6 or 7 laps to go. But yeah, I mean, they're gonna get there, and they're gonna have a head of steam when they get there. And what's gonna happen, I think, as you see these front 5 plus Vance Fisher continue to run single 5, what I think you're gonna see happen is Osterman's going to get there, and he's immediately going to drill the high groove, and we're going to see 2x2 to the end of this thing. Osterman is just absolutely getting wore out. We're going to go back and we're going to jump on board Brian Sharp because Osterman is absolutely getting wore out by Brian Sharp anytime these cars are in a straight line. Watch Sharp. He's just going to pull up and hit Osterman square. Right there's one. He'll back off of him and get another run, but watch when they get down the back. Be a much better indicator. We'll jump on board. And this is all at 180 some odd miles an hour. As Ned Jarrett used to say, you remember Ned Jarrett, if you watch those old races, he would never say 200. He would always say it better than 195 miles an hour. There's a shot. But that's how you do it, Caleb.
Yes, it is indeed. And you even see not only Brian Sharp giving a push, David Dunwoody is pushing Brian Sharp as well. I saw him a couple times on that back straightaway give some effort towards this second pack here to try to help gain as much. And you see it do it right there in that short shoot. These guys have closed in quite a bit here. They were about 2/10 faster last time around, so they have gained a lot. They got lap traffic in front, but it doesn't look like it's benefiting Greg Evans that much. It actually seems like it's hurting him.
Whoa, big lick, Greg Evans. Troy, big hit for Greg Evans down the backstretch. What in the world? You had the lap car of Randy Dunlap, and I think everybody zigged where they were thinking they were going to zag, and now Osterman is within the draft envelope. Evans has to swerve to get out of the way, and just he smacks the outside wall. He's able to keep going, but now Osterman and crew are in the draft envelope, and it's only going to be a couple of laps before they arrive here at the back of this lead draft, and then it's going to be on for the last 13 laps or so at Talladega. And Osterman is already thinking to the outside, and there he goes.
Yeah, Osterman's got the run, and the entire pack behind him follows suit. The first car that doesn't follow him is Christian Light. They got a 4-car pack up the top. We'll see if anybody in this front group bails out of the Greg Evans line and
Matt
see
Mettler.
if they go to ISO.
Matt Mettler went to the top, and remember, that's a team car, and now you're going to see, well, I thought maybe Trevor Ryan was going to move out. He did not. Now he does. Now he doesn't. Now he does. That's Lee Campbell and Ted Craven at the top trying to stay out of the way of the battle for the lead. But this is where it's going to get dicey.
Yeah, it is. You see Franco Alvarez. He's trying to, he has both the bottom and the top, and he's trying to choose a lane here. He's got Matt Mettler kind of to his outside, not quite alongside, though. Franco, he looks like he desperately wants to get to that high line and try to get up towards the front and around the outside of Greg Evans.
Well, here's the thing, too. You've got 4 teammates lined up on that top side now, too. Behind Franco Alvarez, he'll go to the outside of Troy Carricker, and now the inside is becoming very disorganized. Greg Evans moves to the top to try to slow the momentum, but it's kind of, at this point, kind of a lost cause. Franco Alvarez is going to go to the lead with help from Matt Mettler.
He's getting a massive shove, gets a little bit loose coming off turn 2 from the Matt Mettler shove that he got. That outside line has prevailed at the moment. They go to the bottom momentarily. Franco Alvarez to the point of this pack here with about 13 laps to go here.
Franco Alvarez does lead from Matt Mettler and Greg Evans, and now the question is going to be, does Matt Mettler jump up in front of his teammates one more time? He jumped down to the bottom to get to the draft, into the draft of Franco Alvarez. Now he'll pop back up in front of Osterman. Now he goes back to the bottom. Osterman has a ton of help from Brian Sharp. David Dunwoody gets shuffled out. He's going to go all the way to the back of this. 13 laps to go here at Talladega, And now it's show and tell time, Caleb. They've been fairly nice. They've been pleasant. They've not been hitting each other. All of that is about to go out the window.
Yes, it does. It's very, very tight up at the front here. Greg Evans all over the rear bumper of Matt Mettler. They're getting a bit squirrely. Oh, Matt touches the apron, goes a little bit up, almost into the side of his teammate Justin Osterman. Is going to get really, really dicey as they come across the start-finish line. That is Justin Osterman, Mr. Excitement. He's going to take the lead as they go into turn number 1.
Justin Osterman gets the lead. He's got help from Brian Sharp and Christian Light. John Hutchins, Crash Neon, among others on the top. Whoa! Big check! Brian Sharp in the wall. Franco Alvarez goes to the apron. We stay green. Alvarez is trying to get back into the line. He does it.
He was almost at the inside, on the inside wall, going 180 miles an hour, and he somehow rejoins back and forth here, Murph.
Watch this. Franco Alvarez and Brian Sharp are going to get together coming down the backstretch. And when they do, Brian Sharp is going to tag the outside wall hard. It's going to give him the meatball, and that's going to conclude the day for Brian Sharp. He was having an amazing run. I think Sharp got a shot from Christian Light. But watch Franco Alvarez. He came within a lane of hitting the inside. Inside wall. I don't think he ever takes his foot off the gas. He's going to make a hard right and just force his way back in the line. His competitors are going to give him the room to do it. What a save from Franco Alvarez. And we continue on, and he's back to battling for the third spot like he never left, Caleb.
Yeah, he is. He's trying to still make that outside line work. He's working with somebody he hasn't really, worked together at all race. He's got Christian Light right behind him. He really wants to start working together with John Hutchins. Those guys have been working together. Alvarez and Hutchins have been working together for the duration of the race. But now they got Greg Evans right in front of him, and right in front of Greg Evans is Mr. Excitement, Justin Osterman, leading this thing. Those guys are trying to work the high side. Meanwhile, on the bottom, Matt Miller and Troy Carricker are trying to prevail on the bottom side.
They are indeed, and you've got lap cars coming. You've got lap cars. Evans is going to pop out. He's going to make it 3 wide with Osterman. Alvarez goes to the bottom, and they've got Osterman as the monkey in the middle, but I think it might be Greg Evans hung out to dry now. Greg Evans is on the top. Osterman's got help from Light and Hutchins, and that might have been the wrong move from Greg Evans because everybody is formed in line to the bottom. He's got to the bottom side. He's got some teammates there, but they aren't in position to help him. Mike Rigney unable to help him. David Dunwoody is coming from the back, and he might say, look, I know Greg Evans and that deuce is fast. I know he can take a push. I'm going to get organized with Evans, and I'm just going to wear him out coming toward the flag as we get 9 laps to go, working 105 of 113. And remember, if you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can get on all of the iRacing fun. We are getting down to time to talk turkey here in the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series. Franco Alvarez, Matt Mettler, Troy Carricker, they're leading. None of them has ever won an AMA race. You've got Justin Osterman, who only has 1 win. That was at Daytona in the truck race, the biggest AMA race of them all. But that is Osterman's lone win. You've got John Hutchins, who's never won a race. Mike Rigney's never won a race. Vance Fisher's never won a race. The first guy that's actually won an AMA race, other than Osterman, Greg Evans, and he is 10th.
Yeah, we got a lot of faces that have been around a while, but still looking for their debut win. We got contact.
We got big contact.
Alvarez is sideways, and it's the big one.
All right, man. Caution is out.
Big contact. Franco Alvarez, Matt Mettler, Mike Rigney. I believe that's the 94 of Troy Carricker involved. Big trouble down the back with 8 laps to go at Talladega. The big one has struck. Christian Light a meatball, Trevor Ryan a meatball, Matt Mettler, Troy Carricker, Vance Fisher, all with meatball flags, and this is all going to start at the front of the field, Caleb. There you see Franco Alvarez. He gets the push from Osterman. He gets sideways. Osterman gets the push from Light and gets knocked right in to Franco Alvarez. And from there, the melee is on. That's reminiscent of Smokey and the Bandit. And look at that pile of cars, Daddy. My goodness gracious. Let's get back because Greg Evans made it through this whole mess. And let's watch it from Greg Evans' point of view. This is going to be wild, Caleb. He can't even see. He cannot see the accident develop. This is just blind instinct. He might have got touched a little bit in the back, but he saves it. He makes it through following Hutchins. And then there you see the Trail of Tears behind him. David Dunwoody makes it through. Crash Neon. Christopher Logan, I don't think, is damaged. There's Dunwoody. We're going to watch it from Dunwoody's on board here. It's easier to tell you the cars not involved than it is the cars that were. Hutchins, Evans, and Dunwoody we know are okay. It was Dunwoody that basically knocked Greg Evans through. Crash Neon went to the apron. Here's what Crash Neon would have gone through. I don't think Neon got hit at all. So Neon made it. So did Eric Quarter. Say Hey Lewis Hayes, I think, is going to be through here trouble-free, as is Sam Crow. The Ford-facing 88 of James Hodgson makes it. 99 of Jeremy Dunwoody. And so there are several cars that made it through, Caleb. Basically, everybody from Jeremy Dunwoody Ford is going to be okay. Franco Alvarez, Justin Osterman, Keith Graham, Eric Quarter, Michael Kirk, Ted Craven are all on the pit lane looking for repair. Christian Light with a black flag. Trevor Ryan, the Meatball, Carricker, Fisher, Rigney have all retired. Matt Metler with a Meatball, Brian Sharp, they are on pit lane. So, as Jacob Collins would say, haw ye and ye haw. John Hutchins is your leader. He has never won in the AMA. Greg Evans is second. He is one of the winningest drivers in AMA history. David Dunwoody, he's got some AMA wins. Crash Neon, never won. Christopher Logan, well, he's never won. Say Hey Lewis Hayes, winless. Did Sam win a race while I was?
Rockingham.
He won Rockingham while I was gone. So there you go. So Sam Crow has won. James Hodgson and Jeremy Dunwoody have not. I would consider all the other cars to pretty much be too severely damaged. Osterman's going to get out with a minute 38 of repair. There's Osterman, and let's see if we can't get in close on his Camaro. There are still some wrinkles on that machine for Justin Osterman, so don't know how effective he's going to be. Franco Alvarez, you can see the damage on the back of that car. Again, he might be okay in the draft, Caleb. Don't know if it's going to be good enough to make a bid for the lead. But hey, as long as you're running and you got a chip and a chair in this baby, you got a shot. And the reason for that is that you never know. They could wreck the whole front of the field one more time, Caleb.
Yeah, it is. It's typical super speedway pack racing. It's, nothing's guaranteed, especially here at Talladega. Thankfully with the AMA, we've had fairly clean races over the history of Talladega, but it's still Talladega. It's never over until that checker flag drops. It could go all wrong coming to the checker flag as well.
Absolutely. Pace lights are out on the pace car. We're going to have a 4-lap shootout about 12, not 12, maybe 11 miles to get there. To decide it.
Yeah, just over 10 miles, we'll say. We'll round it to the nearest easy number. But one thing I do want to point out is that we've in the very first or the second race we've had here in the AMA at Dayton in the Grand National Series, we had the first 4-wide photo finish in the league history in which the top 4 were separated by 33 thousandths of a second. Let's see if we're able to replicate that.
Let's not. I don't have that much. I don't have that many roll aids saved up in order to figure this one out. John Hutchins, Greg Evans, row 1. David Dunwoody, Crash Neon, row 2. Christopher Logan, Say Hey Lewis Hayes are on row 3 as we head back to get the green flag. And I'm not so sure that car for Sam Crow down there on the bottom isn't still sick. He did not get the greatest of restarts. That's going to let the forward-facing 88 of James Hodgson get to his outside. But the 4th row, not really effective here, at least on that restart, or maybe they're laying back for it. Meanwhile, the battle at the front is going to get wild in a hurry. Hutchins pulls in front of Greg Evans, and noted open wheeler Crash Neon, he drives it to the top, and he's got some help from Say Hey Lewis Hayes. Ryan O'Donohue was in the chat earlier. He said Say Hey Lewis Hayes is going to win this race, and who's to doubt Ryan O'Donohue at this moment? Lewis Hayes is on the top. He is second in line. You got the 99 of Jeremy Dunwoody up there. We have not called Jeremy Dunwoody's name all season, and look at him. He's got a shot to win this race, Caleb, as we get down to 3 to go.
Yes, it is. In the top, it's very, very close together on that bottom side. That top line still trying to get very much organized. Crash Neon trying to lead Say Hey Lewis Hayes and Jeremy Dunwoody on the high side. James Hodgson is trying to get up there with him. Mr. Excitement, Justin Osborne, is going to try to go to the high side. He swaps places with James Hodgson. He goes to the low side. That bottom line is more organized at the moment. We'll see if
Greg Evans got on the apron. David Dunwoody has somehow made it up to 3rd place. He just about ran Greg Evans over. What a great piece of driving from both Evans and Dunwoody. And also give a call down to Christopher Logan. They bailed each other out right there. That could have been another huge mess at the front of the field. We're going to come to get 2 to go. It's John Hutchins, Evans. Now Crash Neon is 3rd to the outside of David Dunwoody. Jeremy Dunwoody, his brother in the 99, looking toward the top of Say Hey Lewis Hayes. He'll fall back in line.
He looked towards the top, but immediately got back in line. It's a little bit too early to make that final move if you're in that middle pack. He finally goes to the outside line, trying to get that 3rd lane. He's got Justin Osborne able to push him. We'll see if they get the run here. We really haven't seen a 3-wide situation for the lead here. It's kind of a mess on the outside. The bottom line is the only organized line at the moment as they come to take the white flag.
Barney has the white flag at the ready. The field is going to thunder underneath him. This time by. There they come. White flag is out. 1 lap to go. 2.66 miles here at the Talladega Superspeedway. It's John Hutchins, Greg Evans, David Dunwoody, Christopher Logan, and Sam Crow has made his way to 5th, and now Sam Crow is going to start a rally on the outside.
Yeah, it is. They were wrecking in turn 1. That took out quite a bit of portion. If you're Jeremy Dunwoody and Crash Neon are the ones involved. They're still organized on the bottom side. Greg Evans in 2nd, John Hutchins in 1st. It looks like David Dunwoody makes a run to the outside. Last time's winner here at Talladega. Franco Alvarez on the inside. James Hodgson behind them. John Hutchins has got a bit of a lead here. Will they get the run going through the tri-oval?
John Hutchins moves up in front of David Dunwoody. They'll door slam with Greg Evans. They're going to come down to get the checkered flag. John Hutchins is going to get the push from David Dunwoody. It's John Hutchins, David Dunwoody, and Greg Evans, your top 3 here at Talladega. Christopher Logan will come home 4th. And how about the forward-facing 88 James Hodson brings it home in 5th. I think Dunwoody had a choice to make there. We're going to go back and watch. We're going to go back and watch the replay here of the last lap from the blimp. I think David Dunwoody had a choice to make here. Do I give the help to John Hutchins, or do I pull out and risk everything? Here's Dunwoody to the top. Or do I pull out and risk everything trying to win the race? And he chose to give the shot to John Hutchins, longtime friend of David Dunwoody. They've been teammates in the past, and push him across the line. Here's the last lap. So Dunwoody, he's got the help. He and Greg Evans get together. Dunwoody is going to pound the back of the 72, and here we go. So that's the way it ended for the field. John Hutchins, well, there is your Rogue Energy winning moment. Go to rogueenergy.com and use promo code AMA24 to get 10% off your order. And John Hutchins, burn him until you can't burn him anymore, brother. Just blow him up. Burn him until the rear tires are gone and she's blowed up. I think it might be gone now for John Hutchins, but he is won here at Talladega. David Dunwoody is second. Greg Evans is going to come home third. Christopher Logan, James Hodgson round out your top 5. Franco Alvarez, Sam Crow, Justin Osterman, Hey Lewis Hayes, and Keith Graham, the remainder of the top 10. In 11th, Jeremy Dunwoody, Crash Neon, Michael Kirk, Ted Craven, Eric Corder through 15th, and Christian Light, Trevor Ryan, Troy Carricker, Vance Fisher, and Mike Rigney are going to round out your top 20. In 21st, it's Matt Metler, Brian Sharp, 22nd, Lee Campbell, 23rd, Ray Dunlap, 24th, Raymond White, Donald Green, Andrew Gates, Ryan O'Donohue, and Alan Steigerwald are the remainder of the entries down to 29th, Caleb. Whew. I don't know if I can stand any more. Excitement, Caleb. Let's see if we can't get some drivers to talk to, so I don't have to talk anymore. How about that?
Yeah. Get the rest of your voice a little bit there, Murph. Get the rest of your voice a little bit, and let the drivers do the talking. See what I did there? But I'm excited to view Hutchins because he actually has the third most starts in the series.
I am very much excited to talk to John Hutchins, but first, we're going to talk to Greg Evans. Greg, you've got Murph, you've got Caleb Brashear in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Greg Evans can hear. So you got some new colors tonight. I can't design on the side of that car. You gave it a pretty good ride. We saw you go to the back, go to the front, go to the back, go to the front. What did you need to get past John Hutchins there at the end?
This is going to sound bad, but I didn't even realize Sam was in 5th place there on the last lap, and he moved up, and I was so focused on just kind of pushing John until turn 3 and 4 that I didn't even realize Sam was even relatively close to be able to help me out. So, yeah, I needed a teammate. I had a teammate, and didn't even realize it.
It's kind of the way it goes sometimes, isn't it? Caleb, what do you have for Greg Evans this evening? It's weird to talk to him, and he's not won a race, isn't it?
No, it's weird. He had, but he still finishes on the podium as expected here. But you seem to like your teammates kind of got out early in the race. Ryan got in an incident earlier. Were you trying to find alliances throughout the race, who you could work with, move up towards the front of the field, who you could trust? Were you just trying to find who you could trust on the racetrack basically that entire race?
No, I've raced with these guys enough. I kind of knew who I wanted to work with, but there was a lot of I wouldn't say fresh faces, but faces that you don't see, as often up there. So it was just, trying to work your way through the traffic, trying to get yourself back in even to a position where you could make a move. But man, it was a lot of fun, and I usually don't like restrictor plate racing, but with the way the aero package was tonight, it kind of put it more back in the driver's hands a little bit better, to where you could make certain moves, you could side draft people. I'm not one that I don't really like side drafting. I think it causes wrecks, but tonight, if you didn't do it, you were going to the back. So it was a very interesting race. It was something different, which is always fun. Well, most of the time it's fun. But yeah, we just glad to be there at the end. But just I was so focused on staying on John and what I was going to do and then what Dunwoody was going to do that I didn't even. Sam told me, he said he was moving to the outside, and I was so focused I didn't even hear him say it. So apologies to him. I feel like that sucks.
Well, I'll tell you what. Another solid finish. You're going to pad your points lead. All together, a good day at the track. Anytime I feel like I've come out of Talladega with all four wheels still on the car, I've had a pretty good night. So you did that tonight, Greg. As always, friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. The microphone belongs to you.
Yeah, I definitely got to thank my DVD teammates. I know we had some guys get knocked out early and some unfortunate events, but man, it's got to say apology to Sam again for not. Like I said, I was just so focused on what I was going to do when I was going to make the move that I didn't pay attention to who was where. But got to thank Freightliner, Sim Magic, SimShop, Sim Labs, DNR Racing. I Can't Design as a company I used to do a long time ago, and I was sitting there trying to think of something different to do this week, and I was like, I might as well bring an old logo back. So, yeah, I had fun. Just hate that I missed the opportunity there to work with a teammate, and that sucks.
I'm sure it'll be all right, Greg. Congratulations on the top 3. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one.
All right, guys. We'll see you.
Absolutely. That is Greg Evans. We'll move him out and move in to David Dunwoody. David, you've got Murph. You've got Caleb Brashear in the P1 broadcasting booth. You hear us?
Yep, I got you.
So I got to ask you said at the very beginning, what was it you put in the chat? I gotta go back. So it was hashtag win or flip. You didn't win. You didn't flip. Is second an acceptable result at Talladega?
If I'm behind the 72, yeah.
I was gonna say I saw that you had a choice there. You could either knock John across the line or you could pull out and pass him, and I think based on your answer we saw that was a conscious choice. Talk to us about your run though, because it wasn't smooth. That car was tore up at the beginning of this race. Was it driving okay at the end? Did it get completely fixed, or were there things that could have still been better about it?
So I definitely picked up 4 minutes of damage there in the beginning. So I voluntarily took that going a lap down, and I got it all fixed under that same yellow. So it was still pretty decently fast, but it wouldn't suck up in the draft. I needed somebody behind me.
Gotcha. Caleb, I'll ask your question, so you'll ask a different one. When we get a new person in the interview room, Caleb likes to ask them what their favorite flavor of hot wings is. I've known you for 6 or 7 years, and I can't think of what your favorite flavor of chicken wing is. So go ahead.
I don't have one.
You don't eat chicken wings?
I'm not a chicken wing person.
Wow.
I go for the fried cheese variety, mozzarella sticks.
There you go.
Okay.
He doesn't drink beer either, Caleb. So we're gonna have.
I don't drink beer either.
Oh my goodness.
Did you see I needed a pee break at the end of stage 2?
I did. You told the entire audience.
This is true.
People don't realize, man, you get in these things and you're doing a full distance race like this. Sometimes you got to go to the bathroom. You were spotting me at Indianapolis one year in the 500, and I pulled it was at Michigan. I pulled the car in. I was leading a race, And
we still made it back to the front.
still made it back to the front. It was like a 40. It was one of those elite deals, Caleb. I was leading a race and pulled it in out of the window under caution because I had to use the bathroom, and drove it back from 43rd back to the front.
Is that the one where you drove under the guy?
Yeah, I wound up running second to Adriano Pinheiro that day, if I remember right. That was in the Pluck Chicken. That was the one that got viewed like 500,000 times on iRacing's website. That was a wild finish. But anyway, good to see you up here. Caleb, what do you have for Mr. Dunwoody, since we now know he doesn't like chicken wings and he doesn't drink beer?
I don't know what to ask him then. This is new territory, Murph. He doesn't like beer. He doesn't like chicken. What are we going to do in Chicago then? Oh God.
Well, here's the thing.
For me, it's pizza.
Yeah, for him it's pizza.
Oh.
I am a pizza connoisseur.
He is. Here's the thing. Caleb would have never figured that my longtime associate in iRacing would be a guy that doesn't eat chicken wings or drink beer. He's a gas.
You drink enough for me.
That's
you
true.
drink enough for me.
That's true.
Somebody's got to be the DD.
That's
it's
very,
my initials.
That's very
my
true.
initials.
That's very true.
Oh, that is true. I recognize that now. Okay.
So we'll let you get out of here and get back to the team without further ado. Before we let you go, friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. Mike is yours.
I got to thank Colby. He made me run this race car. I know he was very disappointed last week when we threw the pole up and I got wrecked in the first 10 laps, but it is what it is. We made up for it. So Colby, Brian had a great run going, got wrecked. Justin had a great run, got wrecked. Jeremy jumped in. It was a fun night. I mean, I got to thank Colby, all the guys back at Black Magic. Kendall, he's out storm chasing, so he made me run the show tonight. That was stressful. I'm happy I pushed John to the win. I got to thank James. It's a fun night.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for stopping in. Dunwoody, keep going fast and having fun, buddy. I'm sure we'll talk later.
Definitely. Absolutely.
That is David Dunwoody. He is your second place runner today. And for the winner, we're going to have a very, I'm sure, happy John Hutchins. John is one of the longest termed competitors in the AMA. He is one of the kindest gentlemen to race with. And tonight, John Hutchins, you can paint the checkered flag on the side of the car, buddy. Congratulations. What were you thinking when you saw Greg Evans and David Dunwoody bearing down on you, coming through that final lap?
I know it's going to be a good race. That's what I was thinking. It's going to be a tough one to be out front. You know, first and foremost, I want to thank God just for the opportunity that we all have our opportunity to come out and make friends and just a great group of guys to race with. And I appreciate everybody in the league and appreciate what y'all do. And it's just been a long time coming, and I'm excited about it. I really am. Want to thank my teammates, Interstellar. They're just one of a kind. You know, Miss Kendall tonight, he's out chasing tornadoes. So with our thoughts and prayers with him, keeping him safe. And, just a great night, man. Overall, thank my family for watching. And thank everybody that watches and tunes into this. Y'all do a great job.
Hey, we appreciate the compliments, but it's you guys that make the show. Caleb, what do you have for tonight's winner?
I think we got to ask him the old bread and butter. So, anytime we get a first-time winner of the season, we got to ask a very simple question. It's completely unrelated, but we got to ask it. What is your favorite chicken wing flavor?
Favorite chicken wing flavor? Hot. I like hot wings. I'm a hot wing fan. I don't think David Dunwoody too has a good push he gave me right there at the end to get back around Greg Evans, which getting around Greg's always hard to do. So it's a great push. But just everybody, thank you. I'll tell you what, it's been great.
Absolutely. Well, John, we'll give you the microphone. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs.
Yeah, I want to thank Place Worship Center. Place Worship Center, my church. They're always supportive in everything I do. Some of them tune in and watch, and just can't thank my family enough. Just for letting me take the time to do this. It's great, and you meet people from all over the United States and sometimes the world. So it's just a great opportunity, and I want to thank all y'all.
Absolutely, John. Well, thank you so much for stopping in. Congratulations on your maiden win.
Yep.
And keep going fast and having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one.
Amen. Thanks. And hopefully we'll be talking to you again soon.
Hey, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right,
Get out of here and go celebrate.
All right. Y'all have a good one.
You do the same. That's John Hutchins. He is your winner tonight. We'll put him back with his teammates because I'm sure he wants to celebrate. And that'll bring us to the conclusion of the show. Caleb, what did you think about this? This is what, your second AMA restrictor plate race? How about it?
Technically third if you want to count Atlanta in there, but
that's true.
Atlanta is its own species of restrictor plate racing, to where it's a mixture of 1.5 miles and the Superspeedway. But I'm honestly very surprised that, and when I was looking at the past results for this race, I was very surprised that this was a little bit cleaner Daytona. And I just, once you get to know these guys, maybe it's just, beginning season jitters. Everybody wants to win at Daytona, so. But once we start getting the flow going, we come to Talladega, everybody's kind of fitting in, kind of staying in with the season, and everybody was, even though it was kind of a little bit jumpy towards the end with the outside line, trying to use the side draft to their advantage. It was a little bit interesting at times, with how the cars were moving, but it was very respectful racing across all the drivers. We got a first-time winner, John Hutchins. I looked it up. He has the second most starts in the Grand National Series and third most starts in AMA total, and that was his very first win in this series. So it was incredible to see him get his main win here in the Grand National Series, and I'm sure there'll be many more down the line for John. But all in all, very good race, very good watch, and I am looking forward to, I believe,
It's my favorite track.
It's your favorite track.
It's Texas. It's Texas. We're going to Texas. So
that's right.
That's a great lead-in for me. We are not going to be here tomorrow night. The Truck Series is off. Next race on P1 is going to be the Sim Gaming Expo Classic IndyCar Series from Willow Springs, 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon Eastern Time. And then the nightcap, it's the Votive Indy Oval Series from Phoenix Raceway. That is the good and proper version of Phoenix. That'll happen at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Monday, we're going to have the IndyCar Series Monday night top split in the Open Setup Division, 8 o'clock Eastern. They'll be followed by the Indy Next Road Series at 10 from Mosport. Tuesday, it's a triple header. It's going to begin with the IndyCar Ovals Series at 8:15 Eastern. In the middle, the Indy Next Oval Series Tuesday night top split from Indianapolis Raceway Park, and the nightcap also starting at 9:30, but of course ending a little bit later. It's the Area 51 IndyCar Series from Charlotte. Wednesday, doubleheader, Horizon IndyCar Series from Auto Club. You want to see something wild, race fans? Tune that in, 8 o'clock Wednesday, for what is always a good show from the old California Speedway. We'll also have the Formula Super Series at 8:20 p.m. from Road America. That brings us right back here. 8:20 p.m. pre-race, 8:35 start. It's the AMA Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series from the Texas Motor Speedway. We do want to thank everybody involved in the series. The series sponsor, Outland Custom Arms, all the drivers, the teams, the participants, the fans at home, but mostly and most importantly, we want to thank all of the people that really make it possible. The military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs driving the ambulance, and Caleb, the nurse that unloads you when you get there. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you all, and we will see you Sunday for the Classic IndyCar Series at 2.